Hello, David. Good evening.
Good evening. It's great to be here. And Iram,
Oh,
I
yes.
know it's midnight where you are. Thank you for
Yes,
joining us.
indeed. But you're welcome because, like, I'm all excited. So, day or night, we're doing what? It's for you, it's for me, and it's for everyone.
Yeah.
Exactly. So
So,
fantastic. You know what? I love that phrase. I love the way you say it. This is
Yeah,
just such a great time.
yeah.
Inga,
It
you were just
is.
about to say something. I interrupted.
no, I'm DJing. It's late in Europe. It's morning in the
Yeah.
place on the planet, and it's midnight. Past midnight in Iran. The dreams already. It's been a long
Yes.
day. We started early. First day. It's the first day. Let's talk about the first day. It's the first day at. Uh, it is for you, Earth.
Yes,
Yes.
for me.
It's for you.
Yes.
And it's the first day, and we have had a lot of kind of news articles that have come out. The sort of stories that goes about the guest list led by bankers and lobbyists and so on, and the impoverished and stuff. And we have the King Charles actually telling about the hope for the world, hope of the
Yeah,
world, and how we can go forward. I
absolutely.
was really impressed.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, absolutely.
over to you, Inga.
Yeah, yeah, yes. Let's get our mood into the COP28. It's like a mantra, COP28, and then you lift the ball up like this because this is the beautiful logo. And by the way, I think people that have been able to travel to Dubai, they are fortunate. They are the 1%. But let's get us feeling. So I will share the the globe, the globe story of our talk. Yes, I love it. I was starting to get fed of it, but it's good. I will
Yes, it
share
is.
it. It is really, really, really good. But because it's a global scope and it is for you. I'll play it for you, Erin, because it's for you. It's for
Yes.
you. Here it goes. You know it from before. Yes. That's where it started.
Yes.
It started in Nairobi at the African Climate Summit. David was there. He did magic. Really. We cannot fly, but we will be lifting it up. It's for you.
Awesome.
Is for
Maybe.
you. is for you. It was nice, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
It is. It's now in
Amazing videos.
as amazing, and it gets better every day because we're putting more and more countries in as more stories come.
Yep.
It's nice. It
Excellent.
is. So let's stop this video. So here we are. It's a little bit feeling we are in Dubai, but we're not, you know. I'm in Norway.
So we are the global citizen, you know. So we can be in Dubai anytime we want. We don't need any visas.
Absolutely. Yes, and I think it's always good to kind of, you know, have a little bit of reflection today, because we heard some amazing things over the last section, you know, with young people around and entrepreneurs and what they're doing. It's kind of like, I feel really optimistic. You know, I think the news media is always just paints negatively, but I feel really optimistic about the fact that things are moving forward and things are going along. How about you, Inga?
First of all, I have to compliment you. I thought you were really pessimistic, but now it's a shining light that you're a little bit more optimistic. About me, today with the insider community has been great. I think the journey from starting in Nairobi and starting with all of us this morning in Nairobi and African youth and all the good initiatives coming out of diverse entrepreneurs in Nairobi and Kenya and beyond. And from Greece, amazing story we had on circular economy and bioeconomics. My biggest take on insider community is actually one, of course, the tree planting and the tree and the story of the green footprint on the blue planet. But I'm concerned about waste and garbage, and I'm feeling we are suffering. The planet is suffering. The rivers are suffering. All animals, all species are suffering out of pollution. So today I'm flagging a red flag for circular economy in the right way, bioeconomics, circular economy. That's my push. It's for you. It's for everyone. Bioeconomics and circular economics. It's for you.
Yeah, I have to say, you know, kind of Christiana, when she talked about need and that element where you connect back over a time that's measurable in thousands of years, and you connect back with the healing that's necessary, that starts from yourself. And then you examine what's really needed before you become entrepreneurial and innovative. And in many ways, that's the essence of you know, kind of dealing. The way to deal with waste is never to produce it in the first place. And that's such an important element. How about you, Hero?
I guess
we need to produce it first, and then we can recycle it.
Can you hear me right now?
Yes.
Okay. First of all, I want to say congratulations to the entire team. We did fabulous first day.
Yes.
And it was a little roller coaster ride, but we are used to of that thing because we have experience of all of that things before. So time I had Mr. Jinnah and Inga, me and Sadaf already been to this roller coaster, but everybody else around the world, it is a good team that we have, and we are blessed with them. Secondly, today, I have heard stories about education, and many people that I didn't know, and I connected with them. The good part is I always say that your network is your net worth. As you have a financial background, so you know what I'm talking about. So I guess the more good network you have, the more good finances coming to you too as well, if you know how to pitch yourself. So anyway, I'm more concerned about, as Inga was telling her concerns, that what kind of all my time I work in like gender equality, education, and decent working and partnership. And I guess it's been years and years. It's been from 2012. I've been working in this, and then I've started my organization, and then now connected with you guys. And my social media thing is getting more stronger and stronger every day because. As being a small medium entrepreneur, I turned into a company, and then now, by the grace of God, I've got three. One of the organization, two of the companies by my name. So I guess that's all God who's graced me, and I worked very hard on this one. But then, how to? It all matters if you know what to do, if you know the pavement, and then go. And then David, as this internet thing is happening, and we are all connected. I guess more of the businesses, more of the connections, more of the people are getting together, and synergies happens, right? I guess if we know Collins, and if we know from people from Africa, some organization collaborate and all that. And this is all about the you know collaborations, and it's all about partnerships. And when I say I made a video and I uploaded on your page, on the it's for you page, it's like if you own that thing, whatever you do, that feels like your own. And if it is benefit you, then try to make that benefit happens to for others as well, because I keep on delivering whatever I have. So I guess I am just one of the messengers that learn and give it back. So, Inger, you tell about the fashion entrepreneurship, because, like, I am into fashion sustainability, and Inger and me were doing so much other things as well. So that's a fashion entrepreneurship journey that we started,
Yeah.
and that's what it is. And I
I
guess we get friends.
it's not over. The Silk Road, the digital Silk
Yeah.
Road, with all goods going circular economy. It's the beginning. So we just have to cultivate and to move along with
Yeah.
the busyness people of David and Richard. But let us bring up back up to the COP and the geopolitics of climate change and the
Mhm.
conference
Yeah.
holding parties.
Yes.
In
Yes.
the Norwegian news, there was like a reporting that the Norwegian Statoil, or the Equinor, was part of the Norwegian pavilion inside the blue zone, and that the NGOs and the civic they excluded the movement. And then they said that it's a difference. But then again, it's quite interesting to know that call it Dubai is actually promoting itself as the oil capital of the future, but Norway is in a transition to other alternative energy sources. So that was up, but I'm not sure what's true and what's fake and what's reality. But that is still up. I think Prince Charles, King, or excuse me,
Yeah.
David, it's King Charles. King Charles had a speech, and he talks about harmony. The earth, the earth is the boss. Nature is the boss. We have to connect and make harmony with nature again, and to respect nature, and to restore nature, and to make it live, so we can live again. It's ruined everywhere, more or less. It's ruined. So I think your king kind of presented a profound stand, David. But let's hear from you as a big money hedge funds managers from London, former.
Mm.
Now you have to unmute yourself in this tech world, David. You're
Okay. There you go. Yes. So I mean, I think this is the whole essence of why we're doing this, how we got to doing this, which is the what a lot of these big decision-making bodies in their way is missing out on is the actual movement that's already going on, the migration toward the richer world and a better future. That's already happening. And the conversations we've had with people, and it's happening through elements of connectedness, which is what essentially kind of King Shao speaks about. And it's this essence that we heard today from Christiana right in the beginning about connecting this through time,
Yes.
connecting this to nature, putting nature back into the boardroom in that way. And we heard again later on during the day from the individuals when they go and talk about the waste work that they do. And remember, we started in the morning with Sunita Gandhi talking
Absolutely.
about the empowerment of education. You know, bringing up a new generation of young people, how much you can achieve if you change and disrupt the education so that it's not for a job, but it's for an empowerment and a voice. And this evening, I had a conversation just before this with a Girl Guides leader. And she talked about the work that they do. And what became very transparent is they were all empowerments. They were all actions to empower young girls from the age of 6 as they go on to become heroes and then advocates as they go on through. And so I think that we are going to see incredible transformation. And what's so special about it is that it's going to sidestep all the vested infrastructure and bring about what Kaka, who is, a person that we interact with, hopefully we'll be get on the show, with talks about very often, genuine citizenship of the planet, where we can imagine we are firstly individuals, and in that being individuals, we're individuals who are citizenships of the planet. And that is something which is really transformative, and I believe it's already happening a lot. And it's happening not in the richer world. It is happening in the places where people face the climate challenges in their everyday. And that's what's so optimistic about it.
It's true, and it's not true. I've been zooming into Peru this afternoon. It was school up in the Amazon jungle. And we're connecting with Sunita Gandhi's program on speed learning, accelerated learning, and a disrupted methodology for learn to read and mathematics. And the teachers were humble and say, "We are so grateful that first grade can read, in a shorter period." And then they showed how they did the recycling of plastic bottles, etc. But so yes, there is a new generation coming in with the skills to think circular economy and reduce waste and different waste in different boxes, etc. But seriously, we need an industrial cleanup on big scale. Industrial, big money to clean up. Industrial. I mean, look at Pakistan. In the landfills, everywhere.
I don't worry about that. I mean, those things I don't worry about. I think it goes down to a transformation, and the essence of the transformation is starting when we see the mountains there. This morning someone talked about what I'm afraid I don't know the name, the hummingbird story. With the small bee carrying the water to the fire. Yeah, and those are the essence. We had this discussion before with giant leaps and where we are is the small steps in the right direction. They're hugely important because those small steps is how we start the journey.
But that you can do with small feet. But look at the plastic waste in the ocean, and seriously the sewage system in big mega cities, and plastic and waste, and you need industrial machines.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
No, I think that's not what you need. I think what you need there is the opposite. What you need there is to take the production of oil and gas and coal down. That's what you need. Those are the actions that will change it. And as we spoke today, we had Mr. Jinnah in one of the Zoom sessions where we joined in there in Pakistan, the SDG Academy, and it was a fantastic session. And a point was made about how Imagine the following, where you create a genuine carbon offset credit situation where you pay, $10 or whatever it is to keep a ton of coal in the ground, right? And that's what you do. And that $10 you do after you've paid to keep it in the ground gets used to go and plant your trees, to go and help with the regeneration projects.
Yeah.
That sort of way flips round the way we do it. At the moment, we dig it out of the ground, burn it, and then we take the profit from that to say we planted. Well, we're burning it and we're creating more of the rubbish, more of the stuff. Once we're able to imagine the alternative and ask, who wants to be in this new economy instead of the other old economy? Then you will see that the plastic waste and all those things, they will run to an end. And that's how you have to try
you
the whole
have to
picture.
ask, yeah, absolutely. But ask Irun. She lives in Pakistan. She knows it takes time to clean up.
See, when I say I have visited almost all Pakistan, and the thing is like, clean up. We need some climate action over here. When I say that I'm standing on the beach and here we need climate action. Yes, we need that because the waters over here are not clear enough. That it's not good for the sea life to breathe in. A few of the people with the vision who started thinking on these lines, and they're working on this thing. Underwater sea life is more important as well, because I live by the beach, and over here there are so many huge buildings have been made, and definitely people litter everywhere, right? So this is now the government has over here, the city councils and the cantonment boards, they took action and they have beautified the beach. I will show you the video in a while and send it so that I can edit it and then send it to you, that you can see before when they never took action, what was the situation. People come here for picnics and everything on the beach. It's called Sea View, and it's a beautiful place. But then on the other hand, there are a lot of garbage over there.
Yeah.
And the people don't know, they're not aware of just what they're doing, because if that plastic goes into the water, there are breathable animals there in there, and they swallow it, and then you catch the fish and then you cook it and then you eat yourself. This is injurious to your health. See, this is what happening over here. So that's what it is. Now the cantonment boards, the government are taking action on this one. There are now parks over there. They put the what you can say, some plants planted over there. The mangroves planted over there. I try to go tomorrow to a nearby beach. It's a private beach of a person who bought the place. He's growing the mangroves on the beach, and that's something amazing.
That's good. That's really good.
Yeah. So you know what, like he's a friend, and he has transformed that his place that he bought from the government, and he transformed into something, because he just gathered every bit of garbage, the plastic bottle, made a mountain on it, because he made mountains with it, right? And put some sands on top of it, and then planted some of the plants on top of it.
Beautiful.
So this is a lovely place.
And that's what I mean. And that's what I mean. And, yeah.
But,
we mustn't.
should we
kind
go
of
on to
let the scale of the problem. We mustn't let the scale of the problem dictate our mood, and that's really important there. I think that's one of the things about this evening's activities. And if I may, I'd like to start with who tipped over the tipping point.
Absolutely.
Which is a comedy show, The World Laughing Sustainably. It's a very short segment that Richard and I have been working on. We have had the help of Nick Lowe, who is a comedian. He comes from Zimbabwe, and he now lives in Glasgow. So he is our union of the global north and the global south, as they call it, or as he calls it himself. I'm the one who gets chased by the copper when I go out the door. But that's a different thing altogether. And of course, Katie Critchlow, who has been working in an incredible CV of how she's worked across all the supply chains, all the major businesses, and all of those things, bringing sustainability and seeing how it works and how it fails to work. And Who's Tipping Over the Tipping Point is a show to go along and add a bit of humor, but on a very serious subject. Yeah. And we always think if you can't laugh at it, it's not serious enough yet. So let me introduce that.
I can't wait to see that. So, experience this.
Enjoy that.
And welcome to Who's Tipping Over the Tipping Point. This is supposed to be a comedy quiz show featuring various bits and aspects with the sole purpose of ensuring that you can keep on laughing sustainably, of course, nothing else. So with me today, I obviously have the other half, Dr. David Coe, but he's not the interesting bit, because we have up in the cold depths of Scotland, we have Nico with us. And more importantly, we have Katie Critchlow with us. And from much sunnier part, we have Ian Kaplan with us. So, welcome. And the format here is a little bit loose, but we are supposed to score points based on various segments of the show. And we're going to start out looking at basically the most unsustainable products we could pick up. So I'm going to hand over to David, and he's going to send us off with the first product. And then we're going to have a little bit of a reasoning around why we love this product so much and what we see as a future for it. So, David, off you go. You get the first hit.
And maybe I'd love to give a little bit more of an introduction of the various people. So, myself and Richard, we've come from very much a hardcore investment background. So we understand about how you persuade people to buy things they don't need. That's basically our skill, our superpower there. Nico, actually, he's living up in Scotland, so he's way up in the north, but he comes from Zimbabwe, which is way down in the south. So he represents that union between what people call the global north and the global south. Now, how that ended up in Scotland, I don't know, but maybe he'll tell us. And Katie has an illustrious career within the sustainability and actually within the commercial area of actually making the businesses to be how we dream of businesses becoming. And so she has that experience and maybe some of the cynicism that can color just how we can look at the products and really understand what goes on behind the scene. And Ian is there. He is from a background where he's entrepreneurial and has been about how you can bring technology and bring entrepreneurial spirits to products. And Richard and I tell him, you know what, as soon as the money gets in there, it all gets corrupted. And so we have great fun talking about that. So thank you very much for everybody. And now let's bring on some of these things. I think what we're going to...
Hello, everyone. Yes, you cannot live without it. You can live without it. But I'm thinking about the disaster that makes after it's used. But if you can clean your own lungs out of cancer, you can use it. But I'm going to pass to David to warm up my jokes.
What I'm thinking of actually is the London souvenirs. I think we can definitely live without that. I mean, who would want to bring souvenirs or these little gimmicky toys of buses that are red back home with them?
But you have kids, don't you? Kids love buses. Red double-decker buses are a hit. I mean, trust me, first 3 times I went back after we moved to the UK, I only brought buses with me. All the kids loved them, irrespective of age. I mean, you get to the point when they stop loving them, but, from like 1 to 10, they all love red buses. It's amazing. London souvenirs, no, we want to keep them as long as they're red buses.
Can I chip in on there? For me, I cannot live with that leaf of weed because I'm allergic to the police. So that might make my life difficult.
Yeah, and
Granted.
But you know what I think is, it's got that CBD on, so everybody sees this and they think what they're doing is they're smoking the weed, but actually, it is actually filtered out, right? The stuff you have in there is not the is not the, or so my son tells me, it's not the real thing.
Yeah, but maybe we should clarify. But should we clarify what CBD stands for? For old schoolers like me who prefer to roll up, what does CBD actually stand for? Do we know, David?
We're all buying it. We just don't know what it is.
I'm gonna just make a.
You don't need to know.
For a joke, I'm gonna tell you a joke about CBD. Stand for cowards, bastards, and dogs. Oh, sorry.
Okay.
It's not my first language. I just understand.
I think that's a great definition. But instead, I am going to go along. And today's world, with these things, you can always just hop over into Wikipedia or wherever it is in finding out. Have you ever had those conversations where you're talking with someone and they're like desperately looking up everything you say on their phone?
I'm not that smart. Most people understand exactly what I'm saying. I'm a man of few words. When they start looking up my vocabulary, the world is in real trouble, trust me.
So, is CBD a drug? Yep, it's a chemical and cannabis sativa plant, also known as cannabis for hemp. It's an approved drug for seizures. Is it better than Viagra? That's the bit that everybody knows. It's not a replacement for Viagra.
It's not. Oh.
I like the idea that I can use my phone to call a Rastafari and maybe can classify that one. No.
So I'm sorry to disappoint you there, Richard. You cannot use this instead of Viagra.
Shocking, really.
But of course, the real problem here is the vaping, isn't it? And what happens with the vaping is you end up putting in a battery in there, and you end up having these things where, for all the talk about how we need our battery stuff, and it's kind of like destroying communities and everything, making it, we're sticking into little plastic tubes with which we can breathe in stuff that our lungs are actually not designed to take. And at the same time, that we're just competing with all these kind of, actually we're competing with Elon Musk. Maybe he should have a word to say about this with his amazing Tesla cars and all that. So Kate, what do you think? Is this a product you can do without?
I just wish, we'd sorted out smoking, pretty well, and then we just let this whole industry, and it's just blossomed and boomed, doesn't it, in the last few years? But I speak to our goddaughter at school. There's kids going into the toilets. They've had to ban kids from going to the toilet because they're vaping. They've got, these flavors, strawberry snow and fizzy gums and all this sort of thing, like really aimed at children, full of batteries that you throw away after one use. It's just such a shame that we've let the industry come up, and it's just such a good example of us letting corporate lobbying and profit making just go wild over just cents. But the actual effects of nicotine, my mother-in-law has chewed nicotine gum for about 30 years, and whenever I speak to her about pretty much anything, she reaches for a gum and puts it in her mouth, so I can tell I'm stressing her out. And so I think she's like a one-woman experiment that we could see the long-term effects of the nicotine on its own without the tobacco. So we're waiting to see what happens to lovely Wendy to see about that side of things. But the vapes, the reuse, the throwaway batteries, the kiddies flavors, just bin them. We don't need them.
Yeah. Okay. So no production of vapes from Katie there. But what does she do with the gum? Does she stick it under the table as we all used to do? Or?
Yes, Archie, she's a very sustainable, very frugal person, so she even puts it back in the packet and then gets it out again later when I'm stressed out
Oh.
the next time.
Oh dear.
Reusable gum.
God bless her.
I like that. I like that indeed.
Exactly. No throwing away in that household.
What about Ian? You, Ian, how where do you go? Can we do without it, mate?
Well, I don't know, but seeing as how I neither smoke nor vape nor anything else, I'm probably the last person to be able to offer any kind of insight into either of the two of them. Well, it seems kind of strange to me that instead of using a match and lighting a little round thing and holding it, it's gone all electronic and batteries and plastics and sent all around the world for people to escape from reality. So you can probably guess what my answer is, right?
You're full.
Yeah.
I'm full for it. No. I definitely think we
Staunch
can do it.
supporter then.
Sorry, Richard.
Feels like Ian is a really staunch supporter of vaping. Yeah. I'm probably very much in his camp. What puzzles me with the whole vaping thing, right? And this has puzzled me ever since I first came across it is we live in 2023 and they probably came 5 years ago, whatever, for real. Maybe it's longer. Time travels so fast. We know smoking does a lot of really bad things to you, but ultimately it's a free choice. The real issue for me is like who should foot the bill for the healthcare that it causes. The rest is like, if you want to smoke, and we managed to take away largely the risk of, passive smoking because it's banned pretty much everywhere. You go ahead. Now, smoking a cigarette, and this is someone I will readily admit, I love tobacco. Tobacco is a fantastic flavor. It's just that it does bad things to me. And I'm a reasonably rational person, so I opt out. I do not smoke. I have a cigar at New Year or maybe, summer party, I can light up a little cigarette. But there is a procedure around lighting a cigarette. And this I've been told reliably by the many smokers I actually know. It's a ritual. It's a thing. It tastes good. You inhale it. It gives you a certain pleasure. I cannot see any romanticism, as a kid sneaking into the toilet, loading up the vape and saying, give me some strawberry flavor because I didn't get any fruit for lunch. It's like...
Oh, it's one of the 5 a days.
Yeah, but the amount of nicotine in the vapes is like 100 times what there is in some of the cigarettes they found. It's just, there's no romanticism in it. It's just purely and simply like horribly addictive. So
wow.
Yeah,
that's amazing because I see the ad where they say is 95% better than a cigarette or something. But
you're saying exactly the opposite, Kate. It's 95 times worse than the cigarette.
Well, in terms of the nicotine and the addictive, yeah. Because we had a friend who went to the doctors and he said you're taking in the equivalent of like 100 cigarettes a day or something like that with the vaping that he's doing. And he was like, oh gosh, had no idea. But yeah, it's I think you can just keep going at it a lot longer because probably with the tobacco with smoking, like there's a carrying capacity for your lungs where they just stop a lot earlier. So yeah.
Okay, so Nico, we're going to need some points here basically. We're going to move
You're the judge.
You've got me who's basically saying, London buses are little toy London buses are worse. You've got Richard who's saying, is it better than Viagra? You've got Katie who says the best way is to chew gum. And you've got Ian who says, what a waste of the batteries and the plastics and everything else. Okay.
How many points do I need to give each person? Oh, slow down. This one.
You can give me all the points.
I need a pen.
You're the judge, the jury, and the executioner. You can award exactly what you want. You have full control. Think of yourself as God.
I think the top points I'm going to be giving people will be 50 points up, down. I'm going to work with 50, 40, 30. Is that okay?
This is going to be like the Eurovision Song Contest, isn't it?
Yes. Who gets the nil
one?
Okay.
God forbid.
I think I'm going to start by 20 points.
Only 20? Oh, God.
Yeah, because I think people they get rid of for the monikers very soon. They will. No one likes all these. What's called
souvenirs.
Yes, even as like me as a refugee, well, every time I look at that, I think, oh, what I'm doing here, But again, I don't know. I think I'm just doing it as a comedy, so please, it's not personal. It's just like, so I'll give it 20. I'll give Cat 30.
Oh,
Because actually, I should give it more. I should give it more. Sorry, because you actually explained a lot as well, and stuff like that. But I'm looking at the funny side of it. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm not like, it's not about what's going to happen in the production. It's about let's make fun of this on the planet and see that I like that. But I had a very strange idea when Kesh was talking. I don't know if I can say it because sometimes my language can cross the world. I was thinking if the verbs they were visiting, if the verb would have versus vibrators, and then they have to have an election, I think the vibrators will win. Anyway, so I'll give you. I'll give you 30 for that one.
Being a betting man, it's not convincing. No.
So how many points? How many points do you give for Katie?
I actually think I did see a website for sustainable sex toys, so maybe we need to look that one up.
Really?
Oh, yes, yes.
Definitely.
There we go.
Does it say find yourself a man who can last?
Okay, to go 40 points.
Okay.
40.
Now,
and
I was gonna give David 50. You know why? David, Richard, sorry.
Ian.
Richard, I'll give you 50. Because Richard, he actually make a joke about himself very much in a nice way, like the tobacco. Yeah, it's so nice. You know what I mean? We need that vibe of actually trying to sell the products, and then at the end, you refuse to sell it.
I would say it here and now. If tobacco had no adverse effects, I would smoke 100 a day. It's fantastic. It's just that it's bad for you.
Well, there you go. You know, this is the bit.
So
if we do these things which are genuinely sustainable, then you can do 100 a day and you can still live tomorrow. The problem is,
there are problems.
Yes.
Now, I think I forgot something because I'm confused. I think I don't know if we can write on the screen. If you are Remainer or Brexit, if you want the vibes to stay, you are Remainer. If you want the vibes, to be chucked away, maybe we should call it leave. I don't know. I'm trying to make it a little bit fun. Like you got leave, remain, and confused.com.
Okay, what about Ian? So I've got David at 20, Richard at 50, Katie 40, Ian is
15 because no, it's not. I'm giving points according like if you make people laugh. That I think that's the part of this laughing is sustainable.
Oh yeah. No, there's plenty of time to catch up. We used to the world where we don't get forward, and we've been
stop. Let us look at this screen. I'm in the lead. I haven't performed cross-country race because I ran the wrong way. Actually, I ran the right way, and everyone else ran the wrong way. That's amazing. Okay.
It might change,
I'm
Richard, because
the
judge is still confused about the case here, but you might drop down to somehow, I don't know. But anyway.
Hi.
Oops, sorry. So there we are. I don't even got those. I've muted myself because I was laughing so loudly. How do you find it, Inga? What product would you do without?
No, my brain goes into, air pollution and particles in India, in New Delhi, and how the smoke and the particles. I couldn't gaze at the sun with the smoke or the
You were there
polluted air.
recently, right?
Yeah.
You
And
were there recently, weren't you? You were
and then,
in
yes,
India.
and you start coughing. So I get a little bit on a serious topic, on all these topics, I guess. But then again, I was together with Nico at COP26 in Glasgow. So we had actually
Right.
comedy at the time, and
Yes.
and I'm come as a sociologist. If I take that hat on top of my head, the fact that in comedy is underrated, and of course climate change is too serious that we can joke with it. But I tell you something, you can smell it. So if I pollute, so you can smell the streets of coal in the sweetness of the air that smells like coal in Poland. The smell of the rivers at COP26 in Glasgow. We can see and that is also one of the jokes we had with Nico. It's like, hey, I was a little bit lost and had to ask for direction, and me and Nick was walking around like this and say, there's a cop that's asking where's the entrance to the green zone at COP, and then we asked the cop, the police. And they were standing there like this. No, we don't know. And we were like, crossing. No, you don't know. No, we're not from here. We're from London. Oh, is it a cop for cops? Glasgow's are full of cops. So
they were mobilized, weren't they?
Yeah. So this thing about climate change up in your nose. That was one of the jokes we had during COP in Glasgow, because we can smell.
Yes.
You can smell pollution. You can smell the oil. You can smell benzene. You can smell coal. You can smell gas. You can smell it before you can see it.
I think that's the thing people don't appreciate, right? People don't appreciate about the term clean energies, actually, that it is clean. I think people don't really kind of think of that. We use it so much as a term, it's clean energy. But the whole point is you don't smell it.
No, you don't smell it. I don't know. No, you don't. But the climate change up your nose. In this series, global citizenship. All of Austria is like global citizens, and in a global citizenship, we need to have a democratical say in making decisions on the planet. Now everything is in the hands of big corporations, multinationals. So if you talk about Greek and the Greek history of democracy, you had tragedy. Now we're living through tragedy, but you have to balance it up with comedy. So that's why when we were in Glasgow, we said like we should make a comedy show. And I'm so happy to see this tipping point. Who's been tipping over the cliff, or what can
tipping
I say?
over the tipping point. Indeed. Please send us your ideas into Facebook group. It's for you.earth, and there's a chat there. Who's tipping over the tipping point? Please throw in your ideas of fun things. We'll bring on a segment every night. We've recorded a few of them, and it's been hilarious. It's been really serious, but it's been hilarious. Yeah. And Iro, how do you find it?
I completely enjoyed and laughed because you've been watching me, because like these guys are, oh my God, it's really amazing. So I really enjoyed it. It's good for it because laughter and humor is needed. So yes, definitely the serious discussion of the climate change and everything, we need some, lighter time as well. So that's a good idea. Yeah, it was really nice.
Well, you have those innovations. So I had to admit, while the jokes were going on, I pretended it was radio. So I went cooking some potatoes. you know, to make mistakes. You
Yeah.
know, whatever, you know, climatic, you know.
Yes.
But you know, the thing is that, oh, I forgot my point now. I forgot my point. Help me.
Well,
This is what happened.
well, I like it.
When you listen to the jokes. This is what happens.
No, I didn't listen to the joke as such. I was like doing my own stuff, and then so.
Yeah.
But the innovation can have
I would like.
very silly, you know, unintended consequences, and that is when it's tipping on the wrong side or the wrong line, or what can I say? Well.
I'd like to introduce the next segment, which is someone you know very well, Rob de Lat.
Yes.
You know, in fact, I realize you were co-founders of the World Climate School. Do you want to tell us a little bit about the adventure you had together first?
No, really, with Rob de Lat, I met him in an online community during COVID, and maybe it was just before as well. I do have the dates. And he talked about the Amazon forest, and we produced something called the Flying Rivers, and the science of earth science. And then we talked about planting of trees, the cutting of trees, and the speed of cutting the trees in the Amazon and elsewhere as well, and the rainforest. And it's the speed of football pitches per minute, like 3 or 4 or 5 per minute. You know, it's like industrial cutting. So that's when we started to talk about how the shape of the football, and I that's my background. It's actually, I saw that the football is circle, and if you want to teach children with the globe, it starts with understanding the shape of the planet, or you know, so like a globe, and globus, you know, it's a football, and it comes up in the background as you can see. Whee! I like it, goes in and out. So we started at that level, and then Rob de Lat had met Hans Jørgen, who was also Norwegian up north of Norway, and they met at COP21, and they had been in touch. And then Rob de Lat introduced me, and they asked me to, hey, can you help us in doing the juridical instrumental registration of World Climate School, and so I did. And this is at the same time we started to work with Erum and Gina and Sadaf and Mr. Ahmad Jaffrey as well from the SDG Academy. And I have to be very honest, without the real support from Gina and holding the space every Fridays. I think we had 300 Fridays for Pakistan. Please notice, it's not for Fridays for Future, because we found it already at that time, we wanted children to go back to school, not to be outside school. And during COVID, the children that did not have access to computers and internet and technology, they didn't go to school. And that's why we're having the gap right now with 250 million at the age of 10 that cannot read and is not at school. And especially girl child, of course. Anyway, this is Rob de Lat. So we've been doing a lot of work, and his passion is the Amazon and how to use nature-based solutions as a technology. Nature is our technology. They can show nature is a teacher, and we can hopefully, inshallah, build back a thriving society and the era for the modernization of the ecological movement. And again, it's my Greek brain is on today. Ecology and economics is the same thing, and it comes from oikos, which is the Greek beginning. So again, and nature comes.
There we go. The beginning.
Let's go. Rob de Lat.
Yep. Here we go.
Yes.
I'm Sadaf Khalid for the host today from Islamabad, Pakistan, and we are running a campaign for It's For You for the 12 days of COP28, which is happening in Dubai. I welcome my very dear friend, Rob, all the way from Brazil. He'll be joining us. He's a world traveler, and he's an entrepreneur as well. He's building an international ecotourism company with partnership in almost 17 countries. He's a philosopher and also a climate activist. He'll be talking about the Brazilian rainforest and his tree plantation projects that he did. Also, I have the founder of the Rethinking Choices, David Coe from UK. He's also in the session, and let's hear them out. Hi, Rob. Welcome to the It's For You campaign.
Hello, Sadaf, and hello, David. Sadaf, thank you for inviting me.
Thank you, Rob. Now I will give you the chance to talk about the amazing projects that I just mentioned that you've been involved. And I know now also you're currently in Sri Lanka and joining this session with us. So do tell us, our viewers, about the tree plantation projects that we were discussing earlier in the Amazon forest, if I recall.
Okay, thank you. Let me first start about the Amazon. A couple of years back, I was talking to a scientist called Antonio Nobre, and he is the younger brother of one of the IPCC vice chairs, Carlos Nobre, who was one of the Nobel Prize winners in 2007, together with Al Gore. And Antonio told me that I was talking to him about preservation of the Amazon rainforest, and he told me that what needs to happen is to restore the canopy in a specific area in the northeast of the Amazon rainforest in Brazil, because the so-called biotic pump is an extremely important phenomena that draws in humidity from the Atlantic Ocean. And especially on the northeast side, the canopy in two states in Brazil, Pará and Maranhão, they were destroyed a lot, and that's basically hampered the biotic pump function.
I'm sure a lot of people sort of get an understanding from the term biotic pump in the sense that it must be some sort of a pump in that way. But could you kind of describe a little bit more about, what does it pump and how that affects, kind of the rest of us in that way?
Yes, I'd love to. So basically, as soon as photosynthesis starts in the morning at the first sunlight, the leaves start to get to work, and basically they absorb CO2 and make sugars. And at the same time, they evaporate a lot of water, which they pump up from their root system. Water vapor is lighter than air, so it goes up, and at the same time, these trees also give small particles, so-called aerosols, biological aerosols, into the in the air, and these are the nucleus points to make drops. So while this is all going up, at a certain level, they start forming clouds. Now, what is cloud forming? Basically, the gas that the water gas, the vapor, turns back into liquid. Now you know how much energy it costs to boil a kettle of water. Basically, that energy is released at that cloud level, and two things happen at the same time. The one thing is that you get an implosion. That means water vapor, a gas, is about, I think, about 1,200 times the volume of the same amount of water as liquid. So a lot of this vapor condenses at the same time, because at a certain temperature level, that makes an implosion, and that draws in a vacuum. That's a vacuum. So then you get that there's an upsurge from air from below and from sideways, and especially forests near the sea basically start then pulling in moist air from the sea. The second thing, which I also like to mention straight away, which is actually a totally different energy, is that when at the moment of condensation node level, that energy that was absorbed when it was made vapor by the plants, actually radiates out as photons, as infrared radiation, and a large part of that goes straight out into space because it's not stopped by the greenhouse gases. So actually, it cools. It takes
Amazing.
heat from the forest floor, and then at cloud level, it throws a lot of it out of space. The story is a bit more complicated, but I think we don't have the time to do all the details. But this is roughly the idea.
Wow. So let me summarize that, if I may. And basically, as soon as the sun rises, as soon as the day starts, the trees get to work. And what it does is it essentially creates its own rain. It evaporates out the water and also the things to make it rain. And in doing so, what it does is the energy that it's taking energy from the ground, which is all being heated up by, the climate and all the concerns we have. But because it happens high up in the atmosphere, that energy is released back out in space. So it cools our planet, it gives it rain, it allows it to go, and then as it does so, it draws in the currents from the oceans and allows the winds to form and all around the globe.
There is a clear scientific evidence that the deforestation in the Amazon area, because it's the largest water vapor pump in the world, has actually detrimental effect as far away as snowfall in the Tibetan highlands and a melting of the West Antarctic glaciers. Don't take it from me, but there is clear peer-reviewed studies that show that there is a direct connection.
That's amazing. I mean, I understood that the rainforest is important. I'd always thought of it in terms of what people say about, being the lungs. I hadn't realized this cooling effect. I hadn't realized that, our wind farms don't function without them. In that way, I think it's really quite amazing.
Yeah, absolutely, David. That's so. The one thing I'd like to add very clearly is that because of that gas becoming liquid and shrimping to maybe 1,000th of its volume, it creates a vacuum, and that pulls in wind. So it creates wind, it clouds, rain, wind, and exports heat into the outer atmosphere all at once.
So really what it's doing is it's allowing our wind farms to function, is saving us from climate change along, and it's actually maintaining its own water system so that it can carry on doing this. And if we don't allow this, these billion trees to be planted, then what we find is we make our situation much worse.
We are seeing the largest drought ever in the Amazon right now. In the Central Amazon, which the people still don't understand that a large part is not just El Nino and climate change, and other causes. It's the collapse of the biotic pump function because so many trees have been cut. So almost at the same time, I got connected to a young chief, an indigenous chief called Ronilson Guajajara, whose territory, his tribal territory, was actually in the area where Antonio said that we needed to reforest. And he asked me, can you help us protect and reforest our area? So that was a double whammy for me to go in, but I had no resources. So I actually, I invited Eden Reforestation. That's a worldwide reforestation organization who had just set up shop in Brazil and were looking for projects to come in. And within months, actually, we were on the ground making deals with the Guajajara Indians, and they get paid for planting trees, which these people are quite poor. The extra income was absolutely welcome. And so off we went, and starting to plant trees. But after 1 million trees, the money ran out. So then we transformed it into a carbon credit project, and we're still right now talking to several customers, basically, who want to get carbon credits out of the project. and we're now looking at several partners at least 16 million trees, but it could be something that even goes up to 50 million trees, not just in Arariboya, but also in nearby areas. So that's roughly what I have to tell about this specific project. Mind you, it sounds like a lot, but 1 million trees is not that much if you know what needs to be done, because we're talking probably something to the tune of 3 to 4 billion trees in the northeast of Brazil in order to get the biotic pump functioning again. And it takes about 15 to 20 years before a forest is strong enough to actually do enough evapotranspiration and cloud forming, etc., to start this phenomenon and strengthen it. So we're in a hurry because basically we're already starting to lose the Amazon rainforest. I hope we're not too late, but let's see.
You had some slides and things for us earlier. I'd like to try and show them if I may. I'm going to try and find out how best to do that. So if I try to add them onto the stage, this is where they are. Would you like to walk us through and maybe tell us which ones we should be presenting along?
Well, actually, you can pick out any one of these, and I'll just simply show you what you're seeing.
Okay.
So just
there's some video slides and there's some video slides and there's some others. Okay, so let me try that.
Okay,
maybe
if that works, that's maybe better picture.
Okay, so let me do that.
Let's see. Let's see if.
So how about here?
Yeah. Okay. So actually, what you saw just now on all these things is destroyed rainforest, where afterwards there was an invasion by local farmers. First, they came for the wood, and then they planted grass to put cattle there, and so you saw a cattle pasture. Yeah.
So this is going back to that first picture that we had. Is
yes.
This right?
So you have to understand this was lush rainforest before.
Wow. So now what you have is obviously, I mean, a path like that is not part of a normal rainforest, and there's no forest.
No. There's no forest. No.
There's no forest. It's just kind of grassland.
Yes, and these exotic grasses, they don't belong there. Basically, they don't allow trees to grow. And to just give you an idea, local warming, I remember that on one day we measured temperatures on this field and it was 42 degrees, while in the rainforest just 2 miles from there or so.
Yep.
Oh, now we get some Portuguese talking through it. And about 2 miles from there, the temperatures were 23 or 24 degrees. So in the forest. So you can understand that these fields are extremely hot. So and here what you just saw in the beginning, a very small palm tree.
Yeah.
And those palm trees are the ones that we that are able to survive through the grass. So basically we inject all kinds of species, hardy species. You see in the middle row that will survive. Once they become a little larger, after 1 or 2 years, they give enough shade. So we put other species in, and also slowly they start to cover the grass, and the grass will become weaker. It depends a little bit on the situation. Every piece of land has a different recipe to reforest.
So this is very different from the reforestations I have kind of heard of people who say, you know, we've got this great plan, we have a drone, we fly up in the air, we throw these seeds around. And this is actually saying if you really want to reforest it, you can't just do that. You have to look after your trees, you have to care for them like you might care for your children. Almost. You see how
Absolutely.
they grow. Yep, sorry, over to you, Rob.
Yeah, actually, and also you don't plant trees, you plant a forest. And why am I saying that? A forest is a community of several species of trees and undergrowth and bacteria and fungi that enrich the soil. So all of these things need to come together, and then that society of living beings basically starts to take care of each other. And every terrain that you see basically needs a different approach. Here you see, for instance, there's a lot of sand, which means that the rains already washed out a lot of the fertile soil and the carbon that was there. So you have to have pioneer species that can, so-called nitro fixers that we put nitro in the soil, make quick shade, and can survive the first 2 years. In other places where the soils are still a little bit left, you can also work with other species. So every terrain needs a different recipe.
And I see here animals, and are they intended to be there, or how do they be part of this?
No, they're not supposed to be there. I think here I'm not sure, but I think we made an excursion to another terrain where we still had to start. And one of the things, of course, you have to do is you have to keep the cows out, or goats, or whatever, because until after maybe 3 or 4 years, when the saplings are high enough, they will simply destroy them. Most of them, not all of them, but most of them. Yeah. So this was probably just an excursion to see if we could, what we would have to do in order to do this. First one, that would be fencing off. So, here are the reforesters.
These are the palms that you were mentioning, sort of the early parts that can grow in these environments and give the shade for others. Is that right, or is this something?
Yeah, well, these are actually survivors from the last the last destruction. We've only started in somewhere end of 2021, and this was in August 2022. So you only see very small trees. So these are older ones that survived.
And these people, they are the ones who are helping to try and see what is the right approach in that way.
Well, actually, here they're just with their motorbikes, but they are actually the ones who make little holes and put in seeds or seedlings in there to plant the trees.
Okay.
So they do the hard work.
I'm really kind of amazed by the description in that way, because there are so many efforts to plant trees, and a lot of them run into this situation of the fact that it's like, oh, nature should take care of it and that's it, and we can go away. But here you're actually saying, imagine, there's a personal relationship, there's a personal story with trees in that way. You need to nurture them as they nurture you, because they create this biotic pump, as you described. That is absolutely amazing in that way. But it's not going to just come naturally, because the goats and the cows will come along and eat them before they're grown enough. You need to get the first stage, and then you get other ones along who can grow along. It's almost like kind of developing a whole school. If you imagine, right? Some friends who develop school, they start from a primary year, and then as they go on, they introduce other years. Is that sort of similar kind of?
Yeah, I love that description that you give, and also basically in the beginning you can't just put a baby outside at the age of a couple of months, say, okay, now good luck. So
exactly.
So the same the same goes for trees.
Yes, and we do the tree planting. I think it's become a bit like, as you say, put the baby outside, it'll be fine. It's just like absolutely not. And these are these the seeds? Are these
Yes, there are some seeds. I can't see which one this is. Actually, right. It could be. Yeah, I don't know. But yes, these are. And you have to understand, it's always a mix of trees. I could mention a couple, but the most important is to say that we used. I say we, but actually the work was really done by other guys, not by me. But yes. Up to 30 different seeds were used in mix to plant. So it's not just one species or whatever. Hi, Inge.
Hello, Rob.
And if I may pause just for a moment from that, and let me just introduce Inge, who have joined us. Hi, Inge. Would you like to introduce yourself? I think you've known Rob for quite some time now. And Inga is the founder of the World Climate School, who's been involved.
David, let me stop you immediately.
Yes.
Rob de Lat is the co-founder of World Climate School.
Oh, okay. So my apologies.
So this is
my
the apologies
there.
is to not being updating you well enough.
Yes. So you two know each other.
But we're three co-founders. So
So Inga.
No, definitely. You know you see my IKEA ball behind me, the lamp.
Yes.
And Rob and myself, we really met around the idea of football and to replant the size of a football stadium as a forest, an ecosystem. Like it's closely 3-4 years back now. It started off as an idea before COVID or during the COVID eras. So and that's why the World Climate School is still a baby. It's still a couple of years old. It's like 3 years old. So we're still kind of nurturing this idea of the World Climate School.
I love this thing about the football stadium, and I can imagine if you go to every football club and ask each one of those to plant their equivalent practice fields and their playing fields of trees in the way that Rob describes. Not in the sort of I have a drone and I spring things out and we don't have to look at it again, but in this kind of very nurturing way, this sort of very personal way. It'll be quite amazing. Does this biotic pump work in other places too, or does it have to be in Brazil? If we go through the world and
yes, there's actually clear evidence that when Europe was still forested, so that's maybe 1,000, 1,500 years ago, the coastal forests would start the biotic pump, and then that moisture gets rolled on through forests all the way to northern China. So the drying out of northern China is in part caused by the deforestation in Middle Age times of Europe.
Wow.
It is likely, but now I'm speculating, that the drying out of the Sahara was caused by the deforestation in Mesopotamia all the way up to the Indus Valley because of the city forming and the agricultural fields. So yes, but biotic pump works everywhere where you have a substantial amount of coastal forests bringing in rains inward. It's the mechanism basically with which nature has been able to irrigate the inland, the continents.
Yes, yes. That's really amazing. So again, it just emphasizes the importance of trees, and what it really emphasizes actually is this personal relationship with planting trees. You can't just go along and put a baby outside and say, "I'll see you when you're 21 and bring home a load of money for me." That's not going to work. And I think we have somewhat of that kind of an attitude to trees that have developed.
No.
It's and I love that. Inga?
Well, as we talk about planting trees on land, I also think about the mangrove forest planting on the seaside. And from the last year at COP27 in Egypt, I was in Sharm el Sheikh, and we went to the mangrove forest initiatives along the most northern mangrove forestry on the African continent in Egypt. So that's the mangroves that can actually tolerate that the feeds or the roots can be in salt water. And of course, then you have the blue carbon offsetting that's from the mangroves to the sea, and the how to continue to have this the pump going on. And on the African continent, the rainforest and the microclimate in the rainforest in the African continent is also very important to take care of. But what Rob is doing in Brazil is of the most important the most important initiatives because it's influencing the whole weather patterns of the globe. So maybe, let me think. I'll ask you a question, Rob. What do you think that the inspiration from what you're doing in Brazil can be to the youngsters on the African continent and the leadership, the future leadership? Maybe it's a good question.
Absolutely. Brazil, actually, together with the Congo and Indonesia, are some of the basically the most important places where where the world basically should put their money to reforest. And of course, we all need to eat, so we cannot just make everything forest and no food. So you can also turn it into agroforestry, because multi-level agroforestry actually has the same kind of water cycle, what do you call it, system as forests have. And so the combination of reforestation and agroforestry, if we would spread that largely in the tropical zone, Indonesia, some of in South Asia, and onwards to Africa, especially the Congo and West Africa, and then the Amazon rainforest all together, that would help a lot of things at the same time. It would stabilize a lot of local weather, because you can't have heat waves and droughts with intact forests that easily. And it would also actually cool the planet because of the system that I just told, that you export heat out into the outer atmosphere. So all of these things together, it's absolutely crucial to have huge programs, and that the world put their money in doing this forest protection. Of course, that's the first one. Don't touch any standing tree right now, and reforestation or transition to agroforestry.
That's brilliant. I mean, the aspect of it's for you is this, where we see ourselves as being the antidote of COP28, and we want people to really think about their money and redirect their spending to those they think are making the world better. And you've just given us a great example of how redirecting the money that way can really help along. I think one element I'd like to add to that is, for myself and my co-founder of Rethinking Choices, Richard Busolato, we believe in transforming the structure of oil and gas and coal itself, which is causing the climate thing. And the idea we have is, we're going back to the carbon credit you mentioned before. If you actually go along and say, we essentially purchase the coal and keep it in the ground, essentially, and use that money that is used in that way, essentially. So when people want to buy a carbon credit, they buy to keep it in the ground, and the money that's used in that way goes to finance your projects, for example. Then you get the benefit of keeping it in the ground, avoiding the excessive emissions that we have, and that money can then go directly to regenerating the biotic pump. How would something like that sound to you?
It sounds like a wonderful plan, and certainly for coal. I must make one remark that if we would stop tomorrow all oil and gas, basically we would have a collapse of the world economy.
Of course.
What we and also what is quite often forgotten by people is that right now our global food system is completely tied to the fossil fuel industry. Basically, as somebody said, we eat oil.
Yes.
And
yes.
So we actually have to have a parallel organization of the transitioning to regenerative agriculture at a very fast pace, and getting out of fossil fuels at the same time. So
Yes.
they have to go in sync.
Yes, and I think what we describe here would allow that to keep in sync. And the way you end
Absolutely.
up doing is you address the reserves that we are not yet digging out, so that they won't ever be dug out, and you can have the continued economy functioning. But the money from there, that's preserving those reserves, so that we don't actually go excessive at the end of it, goes into financing
Absolutely.
the regeneration.
Yeah,
and
beautiful.
That's the idea.
Brilliant.
That we'd like.
Wonderful.
It's really fascinating. I would really love to have more opportunities to talk for longer. I don't know how much time you have, and I don't know if you want to go through more on the slides. But you mentioned you're in Sri Lanka. Do you want to tell us something about what you're doing at the moment there?
Well, actually, I'm on my way to Indonesia, and I was simply curious because I know Sri Lanka very well, and they have gone through a lot of trouble over the years. And actually, just what was it? 1.5 years ago, there was a real economic crisis where there was no electricity, no internet, no fuel, and basically the economy collapsed. So I was really, I wanted to see how they were. That's my main reason. Right. After this, I'm going to Bali. Yeah, go ahead.
Of course, that's an example of what you talk about. Our need, essentially, today we eat oil, even though tomorrow we want to eat real food. And a few years ago, Sri Lanka saw that collapse through their foreign exchange, through running out of money to be able to bring in the fuel that they needed. And what you're describing that really highlights that kind of importance. When we think about bringing an end to oil and gas and coal, we have to bring it about in a way that we rein in from the tail, so that we can still continue to live.
Yes, exactly. Like you, yeah, exactly. I like the way you describe that. Absolutely. And I'm on to Sumatra and Bali after this. And in Bali, I'm the co-founder of one of the oldest eco-tourism companies. And I can proud to say the first one that was net zero and certified as with sustainability certification in Indonesia. And but we also set up a small startup there for a team that helps small and medium-sized companies to diminish their footprint in all kinds of ways: water, soil, carbon, waste, etc. So I'm going to meet my team in 2 weeks from now and work with them to do another training round. So it's going to be fun.
Wow. Well, I hope I have an opportunity to meet you in person. Whether you're coming through, I'm in the UK, or whether if I have an opportunity to travel to where you may be. I'm really amazing. I just want to repeat to all the people listening about this biotic pump. It's amazing. As soon as the day starts, it starts working. The plants there, they get together, yes, and they take the water up into the air to generate the rain. But as they do so, what happens is they're cooling you down. That's allowing you to cool down. And it's absorbing in the excess of the carbon dioxide, which is helping. But even more so, it's creating the wind right across the world that we need. It's drawing in the moistures from the ocean, so there can be rain in places where we now have drought. And it can allow all of your efforts to plant trees, no matter where you are, to be able to continue. Would that be a description?
Exactly. Absolutely. And actually, I'm sure, David, you have been in the tropics, and you know how in the afternoon these huge clouds form. And yes, that's exactly, those are white umbrellas. They basically, it's like nature puts up an umbrella against the hot sun rays, and that's yes, and those clouds are made by vegetation, by living biomass. That's what living biomass does.
Wow. Well, thank you. It's so instructive, and it's so much more meaningful than anything I've heard about why planting trees is important. And in particular, what you've really expressed is it's life we want to nurture. It's not just something you throw out there and say, go ahead and be there in that way. I think we forget this element of stewardship of our nature.
Absolutely, David. And I can tell you, I'll tell you a few more small facts. Basically, we have destroyed half of living biomass since we actually started with agriculture. And of course, that has accelerated when our population went up. And it is my understanding from looking at all the facts that while CO2 does heat up the planet. There's no doubt there. A large part, possibly even more than CO2, the degradation of the function of biosystems to make their own climate temperate, that degradation has caused at least half of the temperature rise and more of the extreme weather. So in order to have complete climate action worldwide, we need to go on CO2 emission reduction, which so far hasn't been a real success, we all know. But this one is a much faster and very impactful way. Restoring ecosystems is incredibly impactful as well. By the way, David, I'll send you a link to a 3-minute video on the biotic pump, which is very instructive, and you might want to include that in the final in the final editing, if you like, because that's very instructive for people watching it.
Yes, I think definitely. Please do. I mean, I think that would be a fascinating thing to be able to have. And I love this description, this aspect, you know, between the emissions, the land use change. I guess is a description people often talk about in terms of the contribution to the warming, that element. And we think of it as building cities, but what you're actually talking about is the destroying of our actual natural resilience. You know, the reason why nature has allowed life to come. Yes.
Absolutely. I think if we get through this, and I think we can if we wake up to the possibilities, in the end, we can't afford having large mega cities. We sort of have to blend into nature again somehow.
It reminds me, I was in Nairobi and I was visiting there and speaking with a young activist who took me up to the top of the Ngong Hills, which overlooked Nairobi city. And it's the first time I'd been there. And I looked down, and Nairobi, I think, was a Maasai word for cool river in times before. And of course, you see this sprawling city. And I was saying, 100 years ago, what would this look like? And he was saying that's when the white settlers first came. And, you know, the chances are it was forest. And then I thought, how would you develop Nairobi now? So in 100 years, what you see is a city with people and forests, where it looks like forest live in it, as a modern city.
Brilliant. Let's do that. I think that is, we have to develop a vision of how a sustainable future for all in sync with nature really looks like. And what you just described is definitely the way to go, I think.
Yes, we should have that as a challenge with young architects and city planners, and, you know, draw the vision, then build it.
Yes, absolutely.
So, well, thank you. I'd like to bring this towards a close. I'm going to and just to close off. I don't really know how to do these closing remarks or whatever it is, but really, it's been remarkable speaking with you. I've learned so much, and I've had my eyes open so much to this. Really admire the work you're doing. You must have been really both energized and tired, I guess, after so many years. How do you see forward?
I must say I'm a bit tired, especially because the message that I'm bringing is still very new and so not accepted by mainstream climatology. But I think it's crucial. So we have to push on and get this mainstream, because we can cool our planet much faster than people realize right now.
Yes, I think when we allow nature to be working through our actions, we will be able to get there in the right way. But when we think we need to dominate nature and coerce it to be how we want it, then one way or another, it hurts ourselves.
Yes, and it's a complete stupidity to think that we are more powerful and intelligent than nature. She has been on it for 3.8 billion years, and we just came out of the trees.
Yes. But that's a good note for us to end on.
Thank you for presenting. This is Miguel. from
Hello.
Peru.
Hi, Miguel.
Hello. Nice to meet you.
Hi, glad you're joining us.
Wow, pleasure to be here.
Absolutely. So, yeah. So, what time is it for you at the moment?
For me?
Yeah.
Yes.
3:30.
In Peru.
3:30.
In the afternoon.
Yeah, afternoon. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
David,
Okay. So it's good.
let me introduce Miguel, and he's from Peru, so it's across the flying rivers of the Amazon forest, and
Yes.
and it's the story of It's For You. And you know, Miguel and myself, we've been never met in real life, but I've been introducing him to Sunita Gandhi and the Devi Sansthan in Lucknow. And he's been working directly with India and the team. So I thought it was a good opportunity to bring Miguel from the Amazonian forests into our conversation here at the end of the day, on the first day of this 12 days for COP, Miguel. Why don't we just listen to Rob de Lat and the flying rivers and the pump across the rainforest that we have on the planet, in the Congo rainforest system and Indonesian rainforest system, but most important, how to really look at the ecological movement in a new way, and especially for the Amazonian region. And I know that this is close to your heart in many ways, Miguel. So you just feel free and relax. Tell your small story to.
Yes.
Yes,
Of course. Yes, I want to thank you for the invitation.
Tell me.
Yes, I am president of a small organization based in Peru. It's called Alcabeta. We started working with the public schools here in the Amazon rainforest in Peru in 2020. We just wanted to help during the pandemic. And then we realized that this became more serious. We decided to create a formal organization in Peru. And nowadays we are working with 2 schools, public schools, and we implement different projects. One of them is environmental education. Also, we have a association with the NGO from India, Alpha Project. Today we have event. It was the last day in 2 schools, and the local authorities in the Amazon, they were so impressed with the work we did this year. And they want to make deal with us. They want to work with us. They want to increase. They want to have more schools here. Also, the director from the second school today, she said, our students for first grade, 6 years old, 7 years old, now they can read newspaper. That's a great achievement for us, because the education in the Amazon rainforest is very low, is very bad. And this is why I feel so happy today that our effort and energy is having something positive in the local people.
Yes, Miguel. I was part of the live Zoom at that afternoon session with Miguel. I felt that the teachers were almost in tears. She said they can read a newspaper in first grade. She was emotional, Miguel, huh?
Yes, I feel it too. I don't understand the language, but she was so excited and happy. Yes. Yeah, despite the language barrier or different language, you can feel the person.
You can feel it. She was almost emotional that she could really help the children, David. And this is actually bringing us back to the morning session with Sunita Gandhi. And it actually thanks to Sunita that that has happened, Miguel.
Yes. So, I can mention. Sorry, I will continue. I can mention that this thing in the Amazon rainforest is very complicated for different factors. Well, we are trying to make it different. So this is why I think working all together from different continents, we can do something strong. Yes, please.
So let me ask about kind of. Can you give me some idea of what the schools are like? Because right from here, I'm in London. I'm sure I have absolutely no understanding. So tell me, how big are they? How many children? Where are they sat? What are the classrooms? Are there classrooms? Is that how it is? How far do the children come from?
It's a very different reality. In the first place, they don't have internet connection at all. In one school, we provide.
And just for, I mean, you know, does it look anything like your background?
No. It looks very
Okay.
rustic, very rustic in the Amazon.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
They don't have they have a different lifestyle. For that, what I saw, because I'm learning also from them every week. We have lessons 2 times a week. What I learn from them, the parents is some of them is a problem because they don't care education. They want to have the children for working for the family to bring money. This is very common in this part of the world. And this is why we have this problem. This is why when they become adults, what do they do? Deforestation, illegal gold mining, narcotraffic, and many other illegal things because they don't have education. So this is why today
that's how they.
Yes.
So that's how they bring money. You know, when you talk about the parents want them to bring money, they bring money by whoever will pay them, and the people who pay them is the illegal people.
Well, I can say that most of the children, they need to sell something. For example, candies, golosins, or they need to help parents in the house, looking after the younger brother or sister, and parents they go working. Yes.
No.
So this is a big problem here.
So the accelerated learning method, you know, sort of what Sunita Gandhi has been involved in, and just, you know, can you give a brief description to people who haven't heard it before as to how it works and how is that, you know, how that suits where you are?
Mm-hmm. At the beginning, we realized that to work with the Amazon is very different because internet connection is not good. It's very bad connection there because there are no computers, devices, or even connection. So that made the things very difficult. Most of the teachers, they are very busy having 2 jobs, maybe 3 jobs, so they don't focus very well. But what we saw in the practice, that from all the work we have doing this year, it has a big achievement because 80% of the total students, 25 for example, 19 students around, they can read now. There is a statistic from Peru that in the Amazon rainforest, the education is very low, very bad. So this is a big achievement for them. And this is why the local authorities, they were very excited to make deals today. They want to make deals with me now and all together. But for that, we need a plan, we need a budget, and we need to do many things because it's not just to do it just right away. We need to have a plan, right?
And when you say the teachers have to work 2 or 3 jobs, is that because they don't get paid very much for teaching?
Most of them, I don't know how much you know about Peru, but during the pandemic, it was a big political situation here. So some teachers, they are like associations, they make groups. They don't want to improve. They only want to have money, and that's all. But there are other teachers that they want to improve. I think it's probably the generation that it changed because now I see the difference between younger teachers and older teachers here. I see the difference. And that's bad because now the time is running and the one who has more problems are the young population because they don't have the right people from learning from they can learn something from these people. So I was thinking about this was my idea. How can I help to educate children in the Amazon when the teachers are not okay? So I decided to talk to people from different countries who want to do some actions. And this was from 2020.
So this is exactly with the alpha methodology, David. It's like, it's not child-centered, but it's child-led. So the teacher can be on the sideline, so that it gets a different kind of methodology. It's difficult to adapt this new methodology, but it works and it can speed up. And then together with that, it's about recycling, making arts, and to make it, call it the green or the climate educational aspect of it. So that's why it's very encouraging to see that what Miguel has been doing is to work with the team he has around him and the teachers, and Melita in Lucknow as an online teachers in between, and it has worked. It has really kind of worked.
for you know, for someone who's sort of skeptical about it, and you know, this idea that somehow you have a teacher, and then the teacher may not be the best teacher, but still you can achieve this sort of remarkable results along in that way. What's the secret sauce? How do the children do this? What is it that you see them do that makes it possible? What is it that you do for them? Are you a super teacher? Is that how it is? Or
in general, I'm not a teacher. I just the one who made things happen here. What I saw through the videos that the students, children, they follow the step when the teacher are involved. I saw videos that from parents, like 20 videos, short videos I have in Spanish, that they are very happy that their children can read now. It's not before and after. And they are very excited and happy because they had this opportunity to access to this new methodology, which is very not typical here, at least.
And has that helped change how the parents think about education? I mean, because part of it is, if you go to a school and you think you're just wasting time, you're not going to learn anything anyway, you might as well come home and help. But now that the children come home and read newspapers, how has that changed their opinion?
How? Because the parents saw that a big progress. That most of them, what I saw in the videos or listening in the videos, now they are more interested about reading. They want to read more. The children, 6, 7 years old, they want to read more. And this is why I was fascinated to see how is what before and after. Also, what took my attention is that the parents, they are very grateful, and also the teachers. Some of them, they are very grateful because they never thought about this, how to do them pairs, how to communicate. And after the pandemic, we understand that we need communication with people from anywhere.
Yeah. So, well, I'm so happy. Thank you. What can I say? You like to ask? Come on, David, ask more question. I'm familiar to this.
Well, I want to carry on talking. I don't want to stop here. Yes. I mean, I want to keep talking. I mean, is that okay? Do you have time?
Yes, we have time. But David, but would I like to suggest is that we invite Sunita into the conversation, and we invite Miguel, and we invite the other people that's been working with Sunita and myself around the globe.
It might be very hard for Sunita at this time in the morning for.
No, it's not now. It's like we plan it because the goal is.
Okay, all right.
No, not now, but we'll make the SDG number 4, which is education.
Yes.
We'd really like to make this. The climate school is one thing, but if it's like 100 millions and 100 millions of children that cannot part in societies, and they are 10 years old now, in 15 years or 10 years, 5 years, it will be multiplied, and the problem will increase, poverty. So to really, as Sunita, so that's why I'm saying let's focus also that on like a laser focus, to say that education, we can do it in 1 year, we can do magic, if we really get trust that a new methodology can speed up things. And maybe schools in Norway will have problem to accept that they can have a faster learning, but for some nations and countries and children, there is no alternative. It's like 100 kids for one teacher in a class. What do you do? And the kids do not have shoes, and they don't have food. What do you do? So this is, we cannot tolerate the injustice that children do have, and youth as well. So that's why we can accelerate this possibility to learn fast. So do you agree, Miguel?
So let me keep asking, if I may.
Yes.
Then.
You're so good at asking.
When you mentioned about what happened after COVID, so what was the issue of communications that happened as a result?
You asked me this?
Yes.
Yeah.
I didn't hear you well. Can you repeat, please?
COVID disrupted things. And it didn't get back in some way. So what was the issue? What did it do?
Where during the pandemic, first was that everything was no communication at all because no schools here in South America and Peru. We need to become somehow digital faster. And in these places, in remote places in the Andes, in the Amazon, they don't have the infrastructure, they don't have the facility, they don't have computers, and this is why we were thinking, how can we make together? We just need to have presence, and they feel motivated, they can do it. So we try to gather people from different places and do some actions to give them motivation to do things. Because when I feel that when you are alone, the things are hard, but when you are in a group, it's better. You feel that you can do it. So this is why I feel that making a group, it can be better. Yes, please. Mm-hmm.
And how about yourself? When you say we were feeling this, I mean, you know, what were you doing? Was this your job, or was this something that you and some friends were doing together? How did it come about?
At the beginning, in 2020, also I was thinking I went to before I was living in different countries, and I want to do something useful with purpose. And I thought, what can I do with my experience of life living in different countries? I live in Norway too. I was a student there. And I was thinking, okay, I know people from different places. I know many things. I'm interested about many things. Why can I bring this knowledge to children that they need it? Because one thing is to have education in Europe and USA, developed countries, and other thing is to have it here that they don't even know how to use even computers at the beginning. So at the beginning, we need to teach them how to use even Gmail. They didn't know it. So we showed them how to do it and to become more digital. And I talked to my friends that I met before, and some people I met before, like Inga, for example. And we decided to work together because we found a common cause, education, and also climate change. Because I like to read about different things, different topics. I knew that this kind of change was going to happen fast. So thinking and having different realities, we need to focus on digital education, environmental education, collaboration, and to learn from people from different countries or continents. Because now we have this digital era.
So if I may, you know, be a little bit bold, maybe come across a bit rude. I hope I don't. But you know, it sounds like, you know, you're an incredible person to be able to do that, having spent the time in different places and come back and wanting to find that purpose along. But you know, what would you say to people who kind of think, well, I can't do that. That's not something that I can do. Is you know, is this something that we heard a lady earlier today who talked about how it's like farmers sowing seeds. You know, kind of she sows them a lot, and you prepare the land and the soil and everything. He sows the seeds, but not all of them grows along in that way. Is that? I mean, how do you feel about that? Do you think that's the case, or do you think actually your experience tells you something different? How has that been?
Well, I can say that it was not easy because it was always rocks on the path. So I had this experience in my previous living abroad that if you want something, you need to do actions. You need to show that you can do it. That's my personality. I wanted to show that I can do it. And also probably because I always try to show facts, information. And this is why people believe in me. People believe in what I say and what I do. And this is how I collect a group of people from different places to work together.
Yeah. For me, David, on the World Climate School, and the way we introduced it to Sunita Gandhi in India and the Alpha methodology, it started exactly last year because I was in Egypt for COP27, and that's when I took the calls from Egypt to Sunita, and I was together with a Canadian lady that was together with me in India, and she had this dream to go to Peru. And then that's kind of, so this is the kind of the ideas are flying and networks are connecting. And then we had a call, and Miguel kind of reached out to me because he's been living in Oslo and in the Volksschule. and so me and Miguel had an immediately trust when we kind of connected in this sphere, and I had the right connection to plug in, so we could actually move, and team from India with Milita and Sunita and the other team that you know, they are very dedicated to follow up. So Milita,
I think it's I think it takes remarkable people in many ways, and all the things being there together is one thing, but it still needs that what Miguel is talking about. You know, it still needs that action along. And it's interesting you talk about facts in that sense, because the lady we spoke with today this morning was also saying, you know, let the facts speak. You know, don't try to be persuading, just simply let the facts speak. And I think what you've said is your class, they all read newspapers. All of a sudden it's like, you know, it's like you walk into a garden, and normally you walk in the garden, you sort of you tend your plants and you hope that some of them will flower, but you know, not they don't always do, and there's always kind of pests and other things along. And it's like you wake up in the morning and suddenly they're all in flower, and you think the facts speak. It's your description of the teacher and of the education ministry. So what are the hurdles now? What are the practical hurdles that stops this?
Miguel, don't be shy. Tell him your dream about the school and the ecosystem and the farm. You know,
yes.
Give it to the universe.
Yes, this year, well, I can say that nothing. Well, with all the global problems, I need to think what is the next step and so on, because to have all the funding or funding for 2 projects is difficult right now because with the global problems. So I have to think what to do the next action. And what we saw today is that the different educational authorities, they want our projects, they want to increase. And also before that, I did contact with one municipality in the Amazon. We traveled there, me and my partner, and we show our work in the Amazon city called Iquitos, and they like it too. And they say, we want to make a deal with you, with Arcaveta. And because we think that to be faster, we need a place with the right accommodation, the right infrastructure, so students can come and they can have free quality education. Because the human capital is a big problem here. The human capital, you can train people, but to have 100% on the board with you is very difficult, unless well, I don't know. Here, basically, you get paid, they do the work, but everything is volunteering here. So I think that we need to have a place where we can have 3,000 children, 5,000 children for the whole region, and they can see from 100%. I will be happy with 90%. To learn how to read faster, to do numeracy, to focus on environmental awareness, and many other things. My dream is just to have this educational center. We have different environmental education, numeracy, literacy, mental health, digital tools, many other things that it can appear on the way.
The forest garden and ecological food system. Gardening.
And yes, Peru is a good country.
Yeah, so and with Peru, I mean, you know, every country now has some city where there's a lot of affluence in some ways, and there are other regions which are left behind in some sense. And the challenge of our kind of climate transformation is that we cannot increase the gap as we go through this transformation, because what that will do is actually stop the transformation from happening along. And when you see what you're doing, and how do you see them connecting together with the rest of Peru? Do you see them as being an example to bring the rest of Peru to them, or do you see that they will be able to catch up with the rest of Peru? Which way around do you see that movement?
I see now that people pay much attention to us, to our small organization here, because we're trying to do something unusual, different that nobody does here, for different factors. Mostly here, the big organizations in Peru, they know people, like networking.
Right.
We are
Yeah.
very small and new organizations. So my dream, my idea is to have many communities in the Amazon, in the Andes, well, why not in the continent, to have different places where it can be replicated and interact each other, centers to interact and to share information, because we believe to share information and knowledge is the key to motivate people. And also what I see here in agriculture place here in Peru, that many farmers, they want to sell their coffee, for example, to Norway, but they sell the coffee to a big company, and the big company pay them almost a small amount of money, but they don't have the knowledge, they don't have the tools, they don't have the machines. So we want to bring all this knowledge and tools to them, to the people.
Yep.
And this is education.
And do you see also that we spoke with some people today from Kenya who talked about bringing their own heritage knowledge and making use of those. Is there that sense that actually the progress that we make, the transformation we make, it's not just about the machineries, but it's about reconnecting with our heritage. Is there that sense in Peru, or is it very much that we have to, in some form, technologically modernize?
In both ways, we need our ancestors' knowledge. For example, we have many plants in the Amazon, many plants. Even I'm learning about this because my grandmother was from Amazon. So I know different plants and so on. Yes, this have also all the connection with the Amazon, and but they have this special knowledge for many things, but they don't use it, or they use it but only for them. But what if we have this knowledge, and with the knowledge from science and combined together, it can bring many benefits.
Yeah. So my gentleman, the timing's running fast for us, but I like to. We had a conversation with Rob de Lat about the flying rivers and the biotic pump, and how to plant trees to save the Amazon, and he's also the co-founder of the World Climate School, and based on that, I'd like to, if you allow me, David, to close with a video that we made a couple of years back, exactly about how we can empower farmers in the Amazon area, and we can have a look at a small video. It's very short. It's like cartoon.
We have more time, Inga. We have another hour.
We haven't one hour. Oh, you have plenty of time.
Yes.
Okay,
so I would like to. I don't want to cut me go short. I think
but let's
very fascinating. And I don't want to lose that.
Here it comes. It's called the Green Heart, and here it goes. So now it's over to you, and see our Green Heart, the Amazonas, and our heart and our future.
The Amazon region has suffered irregular burns, deforestation, violence, and government's neglect. The consequences of this catastrophe will be felt not only by those who live in the forest, it will affect the whole planet. Let's recap a little of this history to understand the present and guarantee a better future. You probably enjoy a lot of what the Amazon has to offer, such as chocolate, acai, or guaraná. These are only some of the more than 3,000 edible fruits, leaves, roots, and seeds the Amazon provides. This is possible today because the more than 10 million people who lived in Brazil around the 1500s had a complex cultivation system in the areas where they lived. And the ways of life of this indigenous people contributed immensely to the exuberance that we know today. These indigenous communities felt a great respect towards animals, plants, and rivers, and built a deep connection to Mother Nature. But their lives would be drastically altered with the arrival of a distant people, with far different customs that landed from over the ocean a bit over 500 years ago. The first report sent to the Portuguese king spoke of plentiful rainfall, fertile soil, and abundant nature. Nothing was lacking for the people living there. Sadly, however, the colonizers were quick to break the balanced relationship of humans with nature. the Europeans could only see the gold in the soil, timber in the trees, and sugarcane in the plantations. They brought millions of slaves out of Africa, stole lands from the indigenous people, and so an enormous human and environmental wealth had to give way to the iron logic of commerce and greed. Given Brazil's enormous size, for centuries the Amazon rainforest remained relatively protected from the exploitation brought on by colonization. It was only after the 1960s that the Brazilian military dictatorship decided to expand into the region. They had to protect the sovereignty over the territory, they argued. And to create pastures for cattle and new fortune, the generals incited thousands of people from other regions of the country to occupy and deforest a good portion of the Amazon. These modern crusades brought along the crushing advances of their machines. The export of meat, soy, and minerals gave new impulse to colonize untouched areas, while sacrificing nature and the lives of local people for profits of the urban rich, thousands of kilometers away. Meanwhile, the scientific community began to pay attention to the importance of the immense biodiversity of the forest and the interaction between vegetation, animals, people, and climate. In the last few decades, droughts and floods increased significantly, with many weather records broken. Deforestation was starting to play havoc with the local climate. Scientists discovered that once deforestation of the Amazon forest exceeds 20 to 25%, its climate will also be totally ruined, and the rainforest would start to die back itself. We're almost there. 17% of it was already brought down. Once this tipping point is reached, the area would be devastated and transformed into dry savanna, holding little biodiversity. Today, the Amazon rainforest loses an equivalent to a soccer field per minute due to deforestation. The consequences of reaching this tipping point will be terrible, not just for the region, but for the whole world. Once this enormous heart of the Amazon stops pumping humidity, large parts of Brazil and surrounding countries would dry out and heat up. The intact Amazon rainforest takes care of itself and others. The shape of the forest canopy makes the wind dance, and its deep roots fill the air with water vapor. This allows for rain year-round, producing more humidity. It's a water cycle that renews and renovates the enormous diversity of species. If we do not decide to protect the forest once and for all, its death would be devastating to the whole world. It will not only diminish the distribution of rainfall and humidity to the south of the continent, its fires will also unload gigatons of carbon dioxide into an already overburdened atmosphere. Water scarcity, devastating storms, extreme temperatures, and deaths of animals. The socioeconomic damages will run into the trillions of dollars. If nothing is done, this is the future awaiting us just around the corner. So why do we keep on riding this risky road? This can all be avoided if we put our heads, hearts, and hands into it. There's a true treasure hidden in the Amazon, cultivated and protected by its native people for thousands of years. Technologies of the fourth industrial revolution, such as digital technologies, biotechnology, and nanotechnology, may be used to generate new foods and medicines from the fauna and flora, especially if this is done in alliance with those who know this ecosystem. The sales of acai, for example, generates $1.5 billion a year for the Amazon. The harvesting is done without deforestation and with respect for local populations. Just these berry yields are at least 5 times higher than those of soy, and this experience can be replicated with other forest products. Drawing in the local population into this sustainable economy, combining indigenous practices, knowledge, and wisdom, will strengthen the region's ecology, economy, and the well-being of the local population. The time has come to swap the vision of aggression towards nature for one of a cooperation with it. With the forest still standing, it is possible to create a tropical bioeconomy, generating jobs, increasing quality of life, and economic prosperity. The future of the Amazon forest is our future. Let's create a more beautiful world our hearts know it's possible. Let's start in the Amazon. It will be our gift to the future of the planet.
Bravo.
Bravo. That was good.
Nice video. But yes, in the video I saw ahorita we the knowledge from the local people or indigenous people or native people, ancestors, And with technology, the young generation, factors, fusion, it can be something big. And also we're thinking about nowadays in Peru we have.
Steg nummer 2 er å bruke smart digital.
I don't know what it is.
Nowadays, I want to comment one information which is important. Nowadays in South America and Peru we have desnutrition. That means that people don't have food.
Second, I don't see it. Oh, I can't find it. Whew.
Sorry, I didn't realize I was muted, Miguel. But you were saying there's one thing that was very important you wanted to talk, something about nutrition.
One month ago, I saw information that in Peru, in South America, at least in Peru, I can say that the desnutrition has increased. Also in the Amazon. So if the children don't have food on the table, they cannot learn. They cannot have
Malnutrition. Malnutrition.
Yeah, malnutrition.
Sorry,
yes.
as in
And
lack of nutrition, malnutrition.
Yes. And for that reason, there is lack of understanding and learning here. And also in the Amazon, it has high percent of the malnutrition.
So can I be quite provocative in some ways? You know, when you see the problem of the Amazon in that sense, and I guess you're talking about Peru is to the west of Brazil. It borders onto the Pacific. It borders onto the Brazil on the other side. So are you close to the Brazilian side? Is where you operate? Is that where where the Amazon rainforest is? When you talk of that, and when you see that story about it, I think, you know, to a lot of developed world eyes in that sense, and developed to a lot of technologically focused eyes in that way, the issue becomes one of saying, well, you just need better policies and you need better technology. They don't really talk about the education at the level that you're talking about. That's like, you know, isn't that money wasted? Can't I just pour water over the Amazon and do something like that instead? So how do you tell people about why teaching 6-year-olds, you know, to read a newspaper is the right thing to do?
Because with this, they can have information from different books. They can have curious to learn, for example, science and different engineer and other things when they become older. Because here, also another fact, the reading here is very low too. Probably in the other countries is high, but here is very low because the education system is not well prepared here. They are focusing many things, but not on the right thing. So this is why to wake up the curiosity to read, to learn, to have new knowledge. I can say about myself, in the pandemic, I was reading a lot about different things, and that will come my curiosity to do more things. So reading and curiosity are together.
There's a huge degree of optimism in what you say, because what you're saying is there is a future.
Yeah,
and very often, right? Because that's why you're saying, you know, you want to teach them, you want them to be able to choose, you want them to be able to have knowledge and make their own choices in that way, and that's to say that there is a future. And that's very different from kind of almost like a doomism about how it's all too late and we all doomed in that sense. Because in a way, even though the video talks about what happens if you cross over, you know, 20% or whatever it was that it mentioned, in your vision is that whatever the percentage we may cross, there is a future, there is a generation, and that generation needs to be able to make up their own choices. Is that what's motivating? Is that kind of the description of how you think? Is that when you talked before of purpose?
I think that if we don't try, we will never know it. So, for example, in my personal experience, I tried to live in different countries and I saw how it was. and I like it, and also other things I learn. So if we don't try, we will never know. So we need to try to educate children in the big number, to show our authorities, our local authorities, that it can be well done, but you need to have the right people. You need to have the right people. Otherwise, it can be difficult.
So this is also a story of tremendous empowerment of people in that way. I mean, you're making them into, kind of individual voices, into sovereign beings in that way, right? And that is, for many, that's kind of like, wow, they're gonna have power.
Here in South America, usually the politician who has power, they speak too much, but they don't do anything. This is how it is here exactly. I believe that normal people with the right values and right principles, with the right tools, they can do many things.
Yeah.
Even myself, with my purpose to do the right things and to find a better future for everybody, that's drive me to continue.
Yeah.
That's my big motivation.
Yeah.
Let me jump back to India and the city of Lucknow. I sent the videos, Miguel, from when I was speaking in Lucknow beside the gentleman from Peru. He spoke Spanish, and there was a translator. What was did you get any feeling about who that person was and what he was saying that was of relevance for you? Because I think this is a person that has been to the biggest school on the planet with the family of Sunita Gandhi, and he's a lawyer and works for justice in Peru. So there is a connection. So I was put in by some kind of coincidence side by side to that person to speak in a workshop.
When I saw the video you sent me, I like it because it's not typical to see someone from Peru in India. For us, it's not typical, and that took my attention. Also, I saw that he was interested in the Amazon River because he was talking about the origins of the Amazon River here in the Andes.
Yes.
Peru, here.
In India. Yeah.
Arequipa, I know where it is.
No.
And I like it to hear that. I feel that, wow, this person is talking about a very important place for the whole world, which is the Amazon River. I believe that he was showing the Indian audience how it is here, because I don't know if they know so much about in this part of the world. So I like to see this man talking about it because when I was traveling. Yeah, when I was traveling, I also was doing presentation about Peru.
Yeah. No, this is amazing. It's very, very nice. And back to this cartoon story of the Amazon. It's a little bit like too much Brazil. How does it feel for you? Because like the Amazon is also Peru. Was it like a biased the film, or was it okay, or was it too much Brazil?
Well, when the people say about Amazon, they always connect with Brazil because it's the biggest country in South America.
Yes.
For me, it's normal to hear that because it was always like this since I was a little. But also we know that in Brazil they have more problems because they have like 40 degrees in the Amazon River right now. They have big, serious problems right now.
In the river, 40 degrees?
Yeah, 40 degrees in the Amazon, yes. And the Amazon River is getting dry right now. And this is why...
In Brazil, it's driest it's been for a very long time. It's breaking down in the Brazilian part.
Yes.
And it had been a net carbon emitter for a while now. The Brazilian Amazon. Sorry, I interrupted.
No, it's a real problem for Brazil,
yes.
And also what I learned through talking to people also from Brazil. I met someone from Brazil 3 weeks ago here in Lima, and we were talking about this, about the Amazon. She liked what we were doing. She showed much interest in our actions, and she wanted to connect with people around here from Brazil, because we are all one continent and one world, so we need to work together.
Well, David.
Yeah, and it's one rainforest.
So, David, we need.
Well, it's amazing.
you're coming from a, like David is, maybe David, you should introduce yourself to Miguel at
Please.
the end, please, because
I-
how was the day
I
for
am
you? I think you've been enormous day for you, David.
It's been fantastic, actually. I mean, I'm finding the aspect of the connection. I come from an investment background. I spent 30 years together with Richard, my co-founder of Rethinking Choices, co-author of our book, The Unsustainable Truth. If you want to read a book, I'm going to try and show it. It's called The Unsustainable Truth. There's a copy somewhere here.
Yes, show it. Show off.
That's it. So I'm going to show it off. So it's a really good read, honestly. What happens is, we come from an investment background. We've spent 30 years making money for the big money. Pension funds, sovereign wealth funds, endowments, and so on. And we started looking into sustainable investing, and you can make a lot of money out of sustainable investing. The problem with it is there is so much money, over $100 trillion, looking for money, that no matter how you want it to be, you end up coercing the planet as opposed to being guided by the planet. And that sets you into a spiral. And if you go back down as to why that's the case, it has a lot to do with our fear, our own insecurity about the future, and the way we express that in seeking security through money, through hoarding money, and losing the perspective that hoarding money means hoarding the planet's resources into your own account when they need to be shared, when the planet needs us to share it in that way. So we left the industry. We spent a year really reflecting on what we had done, and that became our book, The Unsustainable Truth. And it talks about, we had a quote from Sir Tim Smith, about it, founder of the Eden Project, who's been very much into the reforestation of the Amazon as well, in South America and those sort of areas. And, he sort of said, rarely have I read a book that so troubled me, yet holds out, the hand of hope in that way. So I think where it comes to is this aspect of doing what you're doing, in talking about the experimentation, taking the steps, taking those steps forward. And no matter the size of the step, really, in a sense, you need to take them. You need to find the right direction. What is the right direction for you? That sense of purpose, connecting back with it and moving forward. So that's kind of our book, and captured in it is an explanation of how we've gotten to this stage, making people become aware that nobody starts investing wanting to harm, but we are all caught within economic choices that removes us of any genuine choices until we do what you're doing, which is to say, I got to dig back. Where is my heritage? Where do I come from? My grandmother was from the Amazon, as you explained. There is that connection back through. And in that connection back through, we begin to find our direction. And that's where we are. And from that book, we started asking, what is our own direction? The rethinking choices for Richard and I. And we ended up organizing this It's For You over COP, because the essence of it is, COP is about the voices of people, the progress of this. And we were asking ourselves this question: do people care enough? Is it a situation that people just don't care, which is what you often hear? And we decided, let's find out. Let's see let's call people and say, tell us your stories and see what they are. And what's been amazing is like witnessing one of these great migrations, like wildebeest across Africa. And somehow nobody told them altogether to move, but somehow they wake up and they think it's time to move. It's time for a transformation. And each goes at their own pace. They wake up and think about it at their own pace. But what we've witnessed is that there is a huge transformation going on. And it's a transformation of optimism and hope. So that's why, for us, it's an antidote to COP28, in the sense that whatever the news and the media reporting may be, we want to bring together the aspect that you talked about in coming together. That actually people are coming together in all parts of the world, but they're not coming together in somehow in this idea that, oh, we have to solve this problem tomorrow. They're coming together with the genuine optimism. Like I was saying, I'm teaching the children to read because they have a future. Whatever happens, that there is a future for them, and they have that ability. It gives them that ability to make the choices. And that's the remarkable thing of what you do. You're not saying, I want them to choose this. You're saying, I want them to be able to make their choice. And today, that's quite rare. Today, we tend to find we want to go along and say, they need to do this, they need to do that. But today, just over literally this one day, we have heard how it's actually not that rare. So many people from so different places echo those same sentiments, echo those same sense of reconnecting back across vast expanse of time. There's a lady this morning who talked about what happens when people go to visit where she is. She sits them down by this olive tree, which she says was fruiting at the time of Homer 3,000 years ago, and is fruiting today. And that reconnects them to this sense of a genuine time in nature, as opposed to time on our political calendar. And then she talks to them about how she has them bathe in this cold stream, which re-energizes their bodies and allows the healing to come first. And when you talk about, the hope that's there, and you go and into the schools, they don't have the internet, they don't have those things. And yet those are not really the relevant bits, because it's the children who are there. When you talked about creating that one, where you could bring 3,000, 5,000 of them there, you didn't start by saying, I'll create this and I'll have an internet and really great computers. You started with the children, with the people that you actually want to empower. So I think, the explanation of all this is, we don't know where our steps necessarily may be, but this has certainly been an amazing thing to do, and it's because of listening to people like you, and it is because of listening to the fact that actually we can get too distracted by whether we are moving at a fast enough pace or otherwise, because what really matters is that we actually take the steps. And so that's my introduction. I'm not sure if that's much of an introduction.
Thank you for your words. Yes, and also I want to tell you something a little more about me. Why this other reason why I decided to do this? And the 2020 pandemic was going on, but then political situation in my country was getting difficult, and I was thinking, why to listen to one teacher? Why not to different teachers from different perspective? And I feel that I was doing the right thing to give this experience to the children, that they had the opportunity to live in different countries, to speak English, to read about in internet, because I live in Lima, I have internet, I have computer, I saw the world, so I feel very lucky about this. But not many children in the world, in South America, in Africa, in Asia, they don't have this opportunity. So we want to bring everything to them. And for that, it depends on many things, ingredients, but the idea is to bring everything to them, so they can have a colorful environment.
To myself, just yes, absolutely, and that's amazing. Do you have your own family?
Not yet. I would like to have children one day. Of course, I want to have a family, wife, children, and so on. But sometimes I think, with these things in the world, I want to do actions so I can bring my children one day in a better world.
Yes, I asked that. I asked that because, we spoke with a lady in Las Vegas, and she's doing a lot of things around and in her way, and her children is a great motivator for her in how she sees this. and this aspect, and we want to bring this aspect. We want to be able to bring conversations from sort of across the generations, from young people to the old people together in conversation. So if you know of groups who would be happy to share their conversations together with us, we really appreciate that too. Just on that intergenerational conversation, because the advice of aunties and uncles in today's world, like you were saying before, stay off school and go make some money, it's not necessarily the right advice anymore. And maybe we need to listen to the advice from the younger people in a way that collaborates together as well. So I think if it's possible to have those conversations, it would be great.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea to share this experience and to do the things on the way together, because at the end we are animals, and animals we progress together. Alone we die.
Yeah. Yes. Inga?
No, I'm just chilling in and just reflecting over the day. I think it's nice to see Miguel here, and for Miguel, it's a very important day, 1st of December. You got a very good feedback from the municipality and the authorities in the region, and it's very promising. And just the way that Sunita and the partnership with the World Climate School is that. For Sunita and the foundational literacy and numeracy from reading and mathematics, she teaches like 1,500 teachers in the Maldives at once. So then it's like the authorities comes in on a big level, on national level, and that UNICEF was sponsoring and paying partly of the cost and expenses to travel to India with 150 teachers. I don't know, but there's like a strategic training of master teachers, and the other one is like starting with the small pilots, and then the schools and the system, and just to build it. And in many ways, that what you are doing, Miguel, from the grassroots, and you're fulfilling your dream and taking the steps, and it moves faster than going on a minister of education level in Peru. It's complicated. It's complicado. So, ¿por qué complicarse la vida? I don't speak guitar in Spanish, but I know this. ¿Por qué complicarse la vida? So I think today for you, it's an historical day. It's the same thing for you, David. It's historical day. So I like to say congratulations to both of you. And for me, I think you should. I really like Miguel, to see what they're doing in Greece, and it's called the circle bioeconomics, small village. And I think you would love to be in that connection. Yes.
Certainly. I think these things are on our YouTube channel. Rethinking Choices. So if you go to YouTube at Rethinking Choices, there's a playlist there called #It'sForYou, or just It's For You, and you see all those sessions we had today. I'd like to finish with a bit of music, actually, in that way. And there's this segment again. It speaks a little bit of what you're doing, which is, we've been talking to various musicians on the idea that I want to sing tomorrow. This aspect, much like kind of with your children and so on. Yes. And Richard had recorded one session where he talks to them, and he asks them about their story, their life, their story, how they are. And so if you stay, you can enjoy that. It's about 20-25 minutes, and hopefully we get something from there. And I believe he's talking to a young musician, a rapper called Larry Dwayne, and he lives in Nairobi, in what people would consider as a slum in those areas. But when you actually go and visit there, they are actually a vibrant economic community. And it's just that the buildings don't conform to what you normally might expect in that way. So if I may, Inga, I'd like to bring that on.
Please bring it on, and I hope you have time to stay, Miguel. If it's too much for you, but please stay. It's like
This is Richard Busolato.
Here it goes.
Yeah, no, just bring that onto the full screen.
Here in London, this is Richard Busolato. I'm sitting at home, and I'm really delighted to have live with me here, actually, Larry Duane from Kenya. And Larry's, welcome. It's great to have you here.
Thank you for having me, Richard. It's awesome.
It's a pleasure having you here, Larry. It's great. He's an up-and-coming artist. He's making music in Kenya. And he's got a very, very special sound, and I like it a lot. And I know a lot of other people like it a lot as well. So we're going to talk a little bit about him, and he's going to play a few of his songs. But first of all, Larry, where do you live, and where did you grow up?
Thank you. Currently, I live in Kibera, even though I grew up in up in the east side of Kenya, the Eastlands. I grew up in partly in a place called Komarok, and I used to go to school in Kayole, but I had a great aunt over there who used to, invite me over, so I was there frequently since the school was near her house. So I grew up like all over the place. After that, we've been moving around a lot. We went to Moja. That's when, I was all grown up and stuff, already having like some things going on, passionate about music. So I just thought, I should move out. So when I moved out, I came to Kibera. So, actually in Langata, then I came to Kibera. Yeah.
Okay.
So this is where I live right now. This is the community that I felt like, we relate in a lot. And it's a community where we have like a lot of young youth just, really thriving and really talented, and they believe in themselves. That kind of confidence in people also resonated with me, and I just fell in love with Kibera, and I've been living here for over like 6 years.
It's fantastic. It sounds to me like this is a lot of ambitious people, a lot of up-and-coming people in all aspects of life, in business, in music, in art. How old were you when you encountered music and came across the first instrument and you thought, you know what, this is what I want to do. This is where I belong in terms of doing things. When music really started becoming a main part of your life?
Yeah. I mean, I'd say since I was young, from when I was born, I used to sing along to, other people's music, just music you listen on TV. And I had an uncle who, he's the last born in my mom's family. My mom is the first born, he's the last born. And he was into music. In his room, when I used to visit him, like he had like really great sound system, and you just listen to music, and he also loves it. He's singing along. I ended up, I'm young. I'm literally like 4 or 5 years, and I'm already like, like humming to some words. I'm getting some words right, but there was rhythm. So he sort of also motivated me just to continue, just working on it, and just put more passion and more love, more work into it. And eventually, it just became like something I know how to do since I'm still young. Just something I love to do. And after that, throughout school, I didn't know, because I was just concentrating with what I had going on at that moment, which is school, being obedient to your parents, sticking to, the rules, just, like just answering to your cause. And at that particular moment, it was my parents. So after that, since after in high school, actually, I also performed in a couple of school events, but not a lot, like once or twice. I was really shy back then. And even standing in front of people was, I was super shy. And it was so hard for me whenever I'm in like in Form 2, and I want to go perform, like my heart would pound and I'm sweating. I'm wondering, oh my, are you sure? my conscience is just like, are you sure you want to do this? So, but eventually in
It's
high
the cup
school, I
final
didn't.
moment, right?
Yeah,
It's like,
man. Fast forward, so in high school, I wasn't like really confident. Then I went to college. That's when I even started like even just rapping in front of people or in front of my friends. And then I joined campus after college because I did a course in business management in college, a diploma. Then I went to university to pursue like a diploma in business information systems. So that's where like I like really, thought like, man, because it was a different crowd, different energy.
yeah.
I've learned a lot through my life. So it was just like, it's now or never. And that's when, I started recording and I started performing in cultural events in the university. And that's when I started creating a fan base. And I was like, I'll do this for as long as it takes.
The moment you realize it's for you, and that's the path
Yeah.
you've chosen in life, really.
Yeah,
That's very cool.
that was for me. The transformational ownership in that was me like just taking charge and knowing that I can propel my destiny or I can just limit my chances. I can make a move, and that was the transformation. Just me accepting like, yo, like you can really do this, but like, just take action and stuff. And yeah, it's for me. Let me say that.
It's a great story. It sounds to me, like obviously your parents were very important, but the uncle played also a really, really important role for you.
Yeah,
and
naturally, and making me feel comfortable about it, because
yeah, that's fantastic. It's really, really great to hear how you got to where you are today, and we're all very sure you're going to go a long way in this industry because we love your music. Recently, you just visited Amsterdam, and that's a very different fan base. How did you feel coming to Europe for the first time and performing in a very different environment? Did you feel at ease, or were you back to being shy again and you needed your cup final moment and go out and...
Yeah, I know, right? But that was actually the peak. Like this is the highest. This is the peak of my music career so far, like getting to travel out of the country for the first time, and it's because of what you love doing, music. I was going to perform. So that in itself, like, already gave me the confidence, because I couldn't afford to be scared about such a big opportunity. So the scariness, the stage fright, it wasn't there, because I knew I want to do this, and I want to prove to these people that I'm meant to do this and I can do it. So the confidence was in check. The only thing that never leaves is the nervousness. You'll always feel nervous. Yeah, there's always
But you should.
that nervousness. Yeah. And
you should, right? Because that's when you know that it matters. If it doesn't matter, you have nothing to be nervous about. But for things that matter, you should feel nervous.
Yeah, and I know, and it was really there. And for a couple of performances back, I've noticed, realized like, yes, this nervousness is always there, but I also looked at it in a perspective where you also take advantage of it, like, use it as adrenaline and just that drive to even prove to yourself like over 1,000,000 times, because it's always like when a new day comes, like it comes with new challenges, new opportunities, just everything new. For me, that's my point of view. I feel like every day is just like a totally different thing. So it's just the universe and how
this is
you
super
live,
interesting.
right?
I really like this part of musicians, because I'm not a musician. I love music, but I'm not a musician. And I have my musical heroes, right? From all kinds of music. Yeah. And when you hear about them, this is the moment when I get them sort of, this is something I can work with. And it doesn't matter what time of day it is. I'm just going to go with it. Are you more structured, or you're like, no, it's just almost by itself?
I'd say, having like a structure in place is good, but don't go by the books. Have that book, but just kind of flow through it because I was already like you. It's like you already carved out your path in some way. So you're just living according to some codes, and all you're doing is just being present in the moment, but keeping in mind that you know what you want and you won't like totally divert from your path, the path that you have set out for yourself, and just along the line or along the way in your field of work, you sort of also meet people who also like support you in the process, and just you find that everything is always easy. All you have to do is show up and deliver and just be you and offer your contribution, of which that's your character, your enthusiasm, like just I'd say I'll just root it down to you just doing you in other spaces, and that sort of breaks me from being the one who today, oh, what was I supposed to do? I'm supposed to go for rehearsals and stuff. I'm supposed to go record. So me, what I do, I know I'm supposed to record. I've scheduled like certain recording sessions during the week. So what I'll do if I have a whole free day, since there are other activities and other activities might fall, like maybe let's say I want to do something on Tuesday, maybe a meeting, but I have Monday open, and then it turns out that either on Wednesday there was something else that was fixed in my schedule, but I end up not being able to deliver it. If I have that free day, that particular day that I had that session that I had to go to, I can just replace that task there, then cover it up with that one day when I was free, and I could record like a lot of music, so I can just like cover up with that. I just flow, and I'm more of being alive in the moment and just serving your purpose. I swore to myself, like I'd say a decade ago, I realized procrastination is also like an enemy. So the minute you procrastinate, that's when like everything crumbles, everything falls down, because you're pushing everything that you could do today to the next day, to the rest of the day, and end up just messing yourself. The structure is important, but always just have fun with it.
Because you can't plan when it's going to happen.
Yeah.
It sounds to me like you're very much in the mold of someone like I love, like Prince, who has a plan, and well, he's no longer with us, but I was a great lover of his music, and he comes up with a plan, but you not plan when it's actually going to happen. But when it happens, then you need to go with it. But you always have a plan for how you're going to go about your music.
It's like they're aligning, just what the universe had for you, and like your plan. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and a very strong message here as well, I think, from Larry is be yourself, because you are who you are, and that's who's going to come on stage to perform as well. Don't try to be anyone else. What was it Oscar Wilde say? Be yourself, because everyone else is already taken. So we're coming to get to know here Larry Dwayne, the musician. He's moved around a lot in Kenya, and now he's out of university. He's decided music is your thing. This is the path I've chosen for myself in life. What's kind of your secret dreams you're hoping will materialize, and how do you see the next 5 years, for example? Will you still always be doing rap, or are you going to start branching out, so to speak, into other styles as well? Because Kenya has great musical heritage. There's a lot to work with there as well.
Yeah, I know. Apparently, it's I already made a commitment that I'm going to pursue music like for the rest of my life, and with the music, I'll be able to drive everything else, because everything evolves also around music. You're in the office, you're in a bank, whatever, there's always music. So music is like connected with every aspect of life, or whatever position you are in life. And once I realized that, when I was just trying to evaluate myself, just trying to see like where I've been, where I am, like what's up. I called myself to a meeting, just you're like, you're so Larry, like what's up? Like, are you sure that this is the direction you want to take? So once I realized that, I think, I'd say 10 years ago, I am into fish, so I decided to supply fish because I was thinking this music, no one is funding me, and I need to cater for, it's never zero, but it's never, like a zero budget. There's always some funds involved whenever you're moving around, even pursuing your dreams.
Yeah.
So I decided to incorporate like the fish business. So that's where I could make something small, go pay to the studio, maybe buy some outfit, look good, just that independence, so that I am not like, depending either on my parents or, you're just one of those people who always ask for money from family. So I thought, just supplying fish, but that more, I also saw an opportunity. That's why I was like, I can actually do this. So I've been like doing.
You're a
go on.
business school student. You saw a business opportunity and you said, this is something I can do to complement my income.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. But it also, I guess, it compared to a lot of other musicians who only work in a musical environment with people who are into music, you get influences from being out in the non-musical world as well, I would imagine.
Yeah.
And you get to connect with people who are not into music in the way you are.
Exactly.
Do you pick up influences? Do you think that kind of environment has influenced you in the way you think about music, in the way you make music, in your lyrics, etc.?
Yeah, I mean, the music is better when you tell your own story, so that way someone can relate. And yeah, that's how like you get a fan base, because the kind of life you're living, someone else is also like kind of going through the same thing, the exact same thing that you're going through, or they are also celebrating like the same thing you're celebrating in your music. So the kind of environment, that's my advantage. My environment is my advantage to my creativity, because they say we are the mirrors of the society. So if you're not reflecting like what's going on, then I don't think you're an artist.
That's very, very wise words from a young man. So we're going to listen to Larry here for a little bit. And once that's over, we're going to wrap up and hear how a young, smart, up-and-coming superstar from Kenya thinks about music and where it's heading.
How you feeling today? You feeling good? When I say we, you say wa. We.
Wa.
We.
Wa.
Wa.
We.
I got you. So, yeah, Voices of Kibera in the flesh. It's a pleasure to be here. We are going to have some fun. I love the community. It's such a great place, to network and share. And I love art. So without further ado, DJ, what's up? So Proof, the first song that I'm going to perform, I think you can all relate with it. It all goes down to you having to prove yourself each and every time, even after you working on yourself consistently. So this is just to stop all that doubt. Whenever you're ready, DJ. Yeah, you already know. You ready for some Swahili music? Yeah, we are gonna learn some Swahili today, right? What I'm gonna need you to do is just wave, wave, right, wave, this side wave, that side wave. Hey, we're together, okay. Now on a count of three, when the beat bounces, or then the beat drops, turn up. Shit. Hadi lene mna diamond need you prove. Check my catalog, yeah, you will find the proof. Yeah, hardest walking rapper in the room. Spit my sorrows when the beat goes boom. I got hits, don't deny me. What? Yeah. On the table with the bosses, you will find me. Listen, yeah, na hustle nyongeze mado, zoezi nyongeze maflow, sizi lalisha na no, sizi waste time na pono, nilipe nifanye promo, show sifanye pro bono, payment cash, staki mpesa, mtarevas, just did a show, na siku rehearse, pay for a feature ndo nikupe verse, lyrics nandika na hata sikas, rappers is capping too much in the songs, na roga facts na ukweli na uma, industry puna na nadeko uma, na rap nikani metumwa, wewe unatumiwa, bibi yako Johnny wetu, si umtumie, yuga wanikani chama, gang, 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 hey, hadi lady, mna time nije prove, check my catalog, yeah, you will find the proof, what, hardest working rapper in the room, spit my sorrows when the beat goes, I got hits, don't deny me, yeah, what, on the table with the bosses you will find me. Okay, on to the second one. Yeah. Shorty nilikuja na boat. If she got no ass, then it's mission na boat. Out of a storm, I keep it afloat. Me and my team, we always on go. Kianza fugezi, I show you the dope. Talking shit online, nakuja kwa ko. Gun to your head, na mkono kwa ko. Nimekam na rende ya mtu fo. Lalishwa chini, no lambisho flow. Yeah, mjinga ulidhani hawezi fikiwa. Ulisha pimio, utabaki na ma stripes kamio. Yeah, we gone, na iyo ni warning. Kidnap your shorty and now she mine. Daily she morning from AM to PM. Ukishinda tukwa DM. How you feeling? Let me hear you scream. Yeah, this is the Breakpoint 2023. On to the second one. I'm gonna invite Tasha on stage. So welcome her, give her the confidence she needs and the good vibes.
So that was Larry Dwayne performing, and like he said, he hasn't got your average background in how he got into music. He's moved around a lot, and he's running his own business while performing and while making music, which I think is extraordinary. He's got fingers in many pots. He's just one of these people who's got it all. So here we see him in his natural environment, making music in the studio. Where do you think from here you're going to go next? You're in Kenya, you're pretty big in Kenya, you got a big fan base, you got to come to Europe. You're bringing something very, very different to rap music compared to, you know, the traditional American artists, etc. Do you see rap music in Africa being something that's going to push forward, take over Europe, compete with the American artists in Europe? Because it's a very different story that you are telling the world compared to, you know, a Los Angeles rapper or New York rapper is telling. This is a very different story. And ultimately for me and the rap music I grew up with and loved, it's all in the storytelling. And you're telling a completely different story.
I wouldn't say I see them as competitors. Actually, I see them, most of them, as mentors, because you can always learn a lot from someone else. So I see them also as people who are part of this music chain, and we all have to play our part so that, you know, everything rolls. So as they tell their story, like you can hear some music from Los Angeles, and you're not even from there, but you end up, you know, knowing how or having some knowledge about how Los Angeles works, how their people talk, or how they dress, or, you know, just how they think, what motivates them. So I see them as you know, as a part of this whole music ecosystem, and we all have to coexist and just you know, just be easy and tell your story, because that's the main thing.
They're part of the planet like everyone else, and they got their story, you got your story. I think your story is a little bit more interesting. The one and only Larry Dwayne with us here in the studio from Kibera, where he is in his studio making music, no doubt, and thinking about making music. It's absolutely wonderful to have had you here, and I'm sure lots more fans will come on board once they've heard your story, because it's truly, truly amazing. And I don't think many people, many musicians can compete with your story. And we love your music, and we hope you make lots more of it. So keep it coming, Larry. Thank you so much for being here with us today. Thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me, Richard.
Well, that was Larry Dwayne with Richard Bislato. And that's completing our program on the first day of COP. It's for you, and it's for me, it's for everyone else. And join us as we sign off. So thank you, Inga, for making this day possible, for bringing along the enthusiasm and the energy and the direction we needed.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think we are getting there. It's like emigration, as you say, or migration is the movement of a flock that comes together. It's there's not like a real plan probably when birds are flocking and starting to fly, or buffaloes are starting to move. As you have been bringing that metaphor into the picture and conversation today, David. This thing about the most important thing is that we can sing our own song and present ourselves in an authentic voice to the world. I'm still shy in this closing on the first day from a distance at COP, the antidote to COP 28. And we have 11 more days to go, David. So I think this has been an extremely exciting day, and so many stories that have come forward, presented.
Let me finish you with one other one. You've heard us talk about transformation ownership and what's possible. So I get an email about the possibility that there might be maybe something like $1 billion worth of coal mining that we could actually take and turn into carbon that can actually genuinely be used to regenerate and do those things. So how about that for a thought?
Well, so for our World Climate School, will we be part of the deal? Will we own the deal, or will we just receiving peanuts from the deal? That's the question.
Well, the essence of all this is that the peanuts are what actually allows the regeneration of our soil and of our planet and all those things. We forget. The big money corrupt. The big money is coercive. Money forces you in your resources that only money buys.
Yeah,
the interest in this is whether the world is in. The interest is very simple. Are people willing to pay to keep oil and gas and coal in the ground or not? It's very simple.
Well, I think something. I think if we start by buying the coal mines, the darkest are the fossil fuels, if you can say, the coal, not gas and oil, but the coal. And you know, the trend today is to de-invest, or to break the marriage between the food industry complex and the fossil fuel industries. So to divorce, so big industries, they have to divorce themselves or divorce the fossil fuel industries, kind of. So if there is if we can start by really rethinking and redefining the ecological movement when it comes to food and food security and local-based food and all the things we've been learning today, David. And in addition, you know, that's the soil. You know, that is this from the farmers' soil to the food or to the fashion, right? So you are starting, if you can really do something that is to keep the the coal in the ground, and you can make that as a carbon offsetting system that people are paid to stop bringing coal out of the ground. Yes, if you think you can do that, if that's a new carbon market,
it's never a case of what. It's a question of the choice. I think what we do is we can see if the choice is made available, what will people choose? If it's possible to make that choice, what will people choose? And
I think
ultimately, at the end of it, is a very simple thing. If you make it conditional on many things, then in essence, we're not willing to choose, and we'll find out. We'll find out, because when it's like asking someone out on a date. Will you go out with me? Shall we go for dinner? And then if it's conditional on this restaurant or that particular thing and so on, then you basically know it's a no. But if it's a case of saying, yeah, sure, of course we would, then that's fine. Then there's a step you can take forward. And the choice we face in our world today is whether we're willing to make it into a simple choice, or whether we need to qualify and give all sorts of conditions about it. And if at the end of the day we need to give all sorts of conditions about it, I will only do it if it is this. I will only do it if it is that. That's not what Miguel was doing. He was saying, I just want to go and teach along and get in there. It's a very simple choice. The truth always leads us to simple choices. Facts that hold us back lead us to put all sorts of conditions around it. And those conditions fail us and make us feeling that we have to rationalize how we are able to do this, because that way I can demonstrate it's good for that and so on. But in the end, the part that Mark Campanale spoke about early this morning, and the part that is going on at the moment, is the conferences, the conversations going on, the UNFCCC, their mandate is not over the oil or gas or coal, it's over emissions. So are we willing simply to look at the beast?
Yeah, but
you saying we're not?
Are you saying the 1st of December 2023, first day of COP28 in Dubai, that there is an invitation to really think seriously of buying a coal mine that could be an offsetting of direct from fossil fuel to keep it in the ground, and your people will be buying offsetting and engaged with the so if you are you saying that you got that like an email with that offer or that kind of introduction today?
I'm saying I got an email that says that there's a possibility genuinely of something coming on the market that you can do in that way. Yes. I got that just now. And it's exciting. It's possible. Yes.
It's exciting.
Now, and I'm not talking about hypothetically. And obviously you need to raise funds, you need to do that. But ultimately you need to ask, will people pay $30 for a ton of carbon dioxide, at the same way as which they are paying for a ton of carbon dioxide in California, in the US? In Europe, we're paying about $70 for a ton of carbon dioxide. But will we only do that because the regulation says we can use it to offset voluntarily? And so we're creating a market, and some of that money will go into the projects that we've heard talk about. Some of that money will go into funding this thing to become possible, because it needs financing along. They need the economics for us to do that. It is about whether we're willing to redirect our spending.
My mind when it comes to numbers is very visual. I need to see it on a white paper with the pencil and pen.
And this is where I go again.
I need to see
it. It's close for tonight.
No, but
it's late for you. We should close for tonight. And it's close.
It's exciting because at COP26, where you're the director of the conference, or what you call it, Sharma, he was crying when India, with all the deals broke down because of the coal and the necessity for India to keep burning coal at the rate that they do.
And we shouldn't.
He was crying
You know,
at the
we shouldn't.
final. And in Egypt, it was
We shouldn't.
forgotten.
Yes, and we shouldn't stigmatize coal and gas and oil are somehow okay. They all contribute, and they all contribute equally. And then the point when we start thinking it's okay because someone else is worse, we can do this, then we do a lot more of it, so it ends up being worse again. So that's just kind of our behavior in that way.
Yeah.
So, but the point here, before I want to bring this to a close for tonight, and just to say thank you for everybody who's been watching. It's been an amazing first day, and we've learned a lot from everybody. My friend and colleague here, Inga, the co-founder of the World Climate School, has been amazing and instrumental in bringing this about, together with Sada, with Collins, with Tim, together with Richard, who always makes everything I do better, and myriads of other people behind the scene, notably Kaka, who has been very active in motivating and moving the ACCGN forward into this, and Irene in that way too, and everybody within that young body of young people, together with all the young people from around the world and older people all around as well. So I just want to thank you all for spending time with us. We start again tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. GMT, and we go through 3 sessions, starting again at 2 p.m. GMT with a prayer meditation. 7 p.m. as you join us, and one of these will be repeated at 3 a.m. GMT. And the reason we choose those is because it's 7 to 10 p.m. in the evening for Tokyo, Karachi, London, and Los Angeles. So no matter where you are in the world, we hope you'll be able to join us and take part in this. And if you want to speak with us more directly, still sign up, and the form is bit.ly/sign up to It's For You.
Yes.
I think that's going to scroll by anytime soon.
It's for you, David.
It's about to scroll by here. So thank you very much. We can end the streaming now. Goodbye. And
Goodbye.
for tonight.
Yes, thank you. Good night.